I like it to be fun. I like it to be flirty. I generally like it to be when somebody might walk in. So I want, my husband's like, every time the gardener's here, you get horny. I'm like, oh, I like his hairline. So I'm going to make myself comfy.
Make yourself comfortable.
It's so fancy and so nice. Do you want me to take my shoes off? No, we're good.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't care about
Your
shoes.
boots are cute.
Thank you. They're from Austin, Texas. My
I
husband
love-
bought them for
Can I
me.
put this behind me?
You can
'Cause
do
I'm
whatever
so
you want.
Short.
Make yourself comfortable.
I
And
love
then-
Austin. Austin's fun.
Austin is fun.
It's a fun town.
It's fun. I couldn't live there, but it's fun.
Where are you from originally? From what?
Georgia.
But what town?
It's called Bowden. It's about 1,600 people.
That's where that's my
Where?
town that
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
from. Little place called Central City. I'm going to get, people are going to see this and they're going, that population is not right. It's like 1675 or
it's like
1700.
2,200 now.
Or they're going to be like, it's 2,200.
Yeah.
They're going to get mad at me for saying it wrong.
last angry comment we got was like, it's
Yeah.
2,200 and somebody's pregnant. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's funny.
Somebody's
Nobody likes when I don't
We're
get it
working
right.
on it.
Like it's somewhere between 1,500 and 2,200 people. It's small.
Well,
So
it sounds like
small
they had a
town.
big growth spurt to 22.
I mean,
You know?
it's been a good
they
past.
got a
couple-
wine bar.
They got a wine bar. That's why there's been an
bar.
increase in the population.
Yeah.
Because it probably like my hometown, there's just about 3 things to do.
Yep.
Fight, fucking race. That's it. Right? So
Yep. Yeah.
I think
from
that's
a
about
bigger
right.
town in Nebraska, and that's
That's weird.
and-
That's on the billboard when you drive
Yeah.
in.
fight, fucking race.
Fight fucking race.
We
There
left
you go.
drinking out, but that's the 4th, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just a given. I mean, you have to
That's
drink,
amazing.
right?
You have to drink in
Get
those
through the
small
day.
little towns. They've always got a pub. It doesn't matter if it's like 300 people, 200 people. There's a little town called Worms right outside of Central City
Oh my
that
God.
literally, there's not one thing there other than a bar. And you go and you can get like pickled
Okay,
pig's
you
feet.
should do the Are You Garbage podcast.
What's that?
Oh, you don't know Are You Garbage?
Wait. Well, I think the answer to that is yes. Yes, ma'am.
Are You Garbage? They're awesome. It's two guys in New York, and they ask you questions to find out basically if you're like white trash.
Oh,
And
I
it's
can tell
so
you right now.
fun.
I'm going to tell you, we just would be at a toss up of who would win.
I know. I almost shotgun this water because
I
I
know,
know
she
no
doesn't
other way
like
to
it.
use a can.
She's like, gets
I'm like,
confused when it's
what?
water. She's like, what kind of bullshit is this? Is this Coors Light? Why am I
Well,
drinking?
it is a familiar delivery system for those who grew up
Yeah,
shotgunning
it's
beer.
comfortable.
That's right. It is comfortable. I feel very charming
Yes,
when I
very
have
familiar.
a can in my hand.
Delivery system. Yeah, Are You Garbage is good. I would challenge you to beat me because I bet you can't.
Okay.
Is there a
I know white
point
trash.
system?
All right.
Okay. Well,
Let's see. So I grew up, and at the end of my street, the intersection was called Bug Scuffle.
Bugs
God, I
cuffle.
love
Well,
it.
that's
Bug
just damn
scuffle.
charming.
I know.
Pretty cute. Let's see what else. I drag raced in high school for money.
All right, now we're getting
beer
somewhere.
money, and the road I drag raced on was called Hog Liver Road.
But this all sounds like we're in Charlotte's Web. Ours is all the most boring.
Like worms.
Ours is like worms.
yeah.
You go to a party. You go to Lone Tree Days. You go to Wallback Days. We go to the
It's
Czech
very,
Festival.
very Czech heavy in Nebraska.
Czech heavy? Czechoslovakian?
And German.
So we do, you have German days, Wallback days, Czech days, all these little town festivals. And they they block off the whole town and then everyone's drunk. Literally, there's 9-year-olds that are like shooting fireball. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying
How
that, but it's
funny.
God's honest truth. And then every year we have the fair, which is the biggest thing. Do you have a fair?
Nope.
Do you do,
County?
We have a
like,
county fair.
fair.
but
We have a
it's like
county fair.
30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was the biggest talk of the town.
Yeah.
Go see somebody sell their pig and then you go to a dance.
Yes. I was
Okay.
in the beauty contest. I did not place at all, but I did win Miss Congeniality. Hello.
That's better.
You won it? You won Miss
I was Miss
Congeniality?
Congeniality.
That's the biggest
yes.
win you
I
can get.
know.
You don't
I-
need a damn crown.
It's because I think I smiled too big my whole life where I'm like, ha.
You do have a great
Ready?
smile.
You have a great
I need this
smile.
dress.
Please
I
tell
think
me.
this is the title
Geniality.
of your next book. I smile too big.
I
That's
do. I always
sweet.
smile too big.
I am really tooth obsessed, and you have perfect teeth.
No.
And partly it's because both my kids are in orthodontics right now, and which
Oh
is
man.
why we're leasing also. But like your teeth are perfect. Did
Oh,
you have
Donna.
braces?
Oh, yeah. I had like buck teeth, spaces everywhere. My bottom teeth were just a disaster.
You wore your retainer though.
I did, and then I lost it, and then I just finished Invisalign about a year ago.
I
So this little
can't.
guy down here, my top teeth never moved. This little sucker
Same.
on the bottom.
It's, I call my horse teeth. It shows my age. Like, you know how old a horse is, but when you
Yep.
check their teeth and you're looking at me and you're like, she's well into her 40s.
They call it long in the tooth.
right.
I got a long
Yeah.
tooth. That's why I'm obsessed with teeth, because I have this one tooth that grew around another tooth.
What?
'Cause, yeah. I had,
Oh,
Gen X
please.
parents who weren't.
Wait,
Yeah,
your
it's
parents
okay.
were Gen X? How old are you?
Oh,
No.
no, we're Gen X.
Oh,
We're
I was like
no.
going to say,
boomer.
hold on.
You're
you
like,
could be my child?
You're like, you've lived a hard life.
No, I was like, wait, are you like 25?
No.
What's
Yeah,
happening?
We've just been out in LA
I said
too
that
long.
the wrong way.
Yeah.
How
no,
old are
we
your
have
kids?
Very boomer parents.
Oh, mine are 8 and 10.
And mine are 12 and 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so the 10 is the connection.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
And is that how you met? No, you met outside of of a comedy store. A comedy.
Well,
We
it's-
did.
Okay, so we're both from Nebraska.
Yeah, I knew
but
that.
I'm city mouse. She's country mouse.
Yeah.
If you can say that.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you're offending mice.
we met having beers in a parking lot at a comedy show, and we had so many friends in common. Like it was insane.
crazy.
She'd been to a comedy show. I was doing comedy with her roommate when we were
Yep.
like 19.
Well, I was
Wow.
real drunk.
Yeah.
So I barely
So we didn't
remember it. I
remember it.
believe I was asked to leave.
Everyone was drunk at 19.
Everybody's
All
drunk
day.
at 19.
It was a good
you know,
time
all day,
was,
every day. And then
yeah.
I'd get up and I was fine. And then I would go work I would wait tables or bartend and I was fine. It was just incredible how functional I was.
Right?
Yeah.
At the rate to which I consumed.
That
I don't know
yeah.
how I graduated, to be completely honest.
Well, we definitely recall being at some of the same parties. Like,
But had never
Never met.
I never. And then I saw her in a comedy show and I was like, she just made a joke about chicken wings. I think she's my people.
yeah.
And then
Something's
we
resonating
were
here.
in a parking lot and this friend of ours, Jenny, who has this like kind of soft voice, she goes, I just have always thought that you two should meet because you're both comedians and you're both funny. And I think you're both from Nebraska. And then Jen and I just started to tear each other apart.
screaming.
Like,
Yeah.
you're from Nebraska. And that was the next day we hung out.
Yeah, and then when we became instant friends, we
Yeah.
hung out like the next day. We traded jackets.
Leather jackets.
How
we
funny.
we realized that we
Hers
lived
was very
a
tight.
block and a half away from each
Shut
other.
up.
We drove the same kind of car.
Matching cars, like real assholes, Mini Coopers.
That's
yeah.
hysterical.
But then we just
both
were
had
fast
huge
friends
dogs.
and
yeah,
figured, and it was so nice. You know, I don't know, like being out here, you feel so displaced. And then you meet somebody that gets where you're from and
Mhm.
likes the same food or makes the same joke or has the same family
Just
dynamics.
sensibilities
It's so
that-
good.
feel
I
at home.
completely understand. My
Yeah.
trainer, I have a trainer I go to 3 days a week,
Yeah.
is from literally 30 minutes from my hometown.
That must be so nice for you.
Oh my! When someone referred me to him, and he was like, not taking new clients, and my friend was like, you have to meet her. You're actually from the same from
No.
Georgia. You're both from Georgia, not knowing we were actually from two small towns, 30 minutes from each other, right? And so the first day I worked out with him, he told me he was from Cedartown, and I was like, what? And just this past week, I was having a really hard week because. I don't know if it's like this in Nebraska, but definitely where I grew up, people communicate in very specific ways.
Sure.
Like my kids have always said that I'm a yeller.
Yeah.
Do you hear how I'm talking right now?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yelling.
This is yelling to them where I go, where I grew up, we're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
And if I get super excited about something, I get louder
Yeah.
and louder, but
Yeah.
I am not yelling. Would you like me to yell? Because I
Yeah.
could do that.
I can show you. I've been
Right?
trained in that.
Right?
I was
so I
raised
work
by my
out
mother.
with another person who grew up in Boston. And she's like, this trainer just always yelling. And I'm like,
You're like, he's my
he's
people.
not yelling.
It's so soothing
he's
to
just
me.
talking to you passionately.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And so I feel like that is literally the only place in LA I
Yeah.
can go and go, Mikkel, can you believe this bullshit?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not yelling. It's really interesting. And
I
it is
totally get
culturally,
that.
totally, completely the community that we grew up in.
Yeah.
Man, you remind me so much of Katie Crowder, Trey Crowder's.
Yeah.
He's the liberal redneck, the stand up. He's just hilarious. And he's from Tennessee, though. And so is his wife. And you remind me of her
It's
so
those
much.
Appalachia people. We're all Appalachian.
My husband's from Texas and he gets real fired up and emphatic. And I have to say, in front of our California children, I always say, like, you sound like you're mad at me. I know you're just fired up about the Astros, but it sounds like you're mad at me about the Astros. And he's like, I'm just being emphatic. And I'm like, I get it. But we are both loud people. We are the loudest people on the block. I'm sure everybody around is like, are they getting a divorce? Or are they just talking about what was on NCIS?
Yeah, my husband's from New York, so he's just mad all the time. That's just how they communicate love is
Yeah.
angry.
I get that note from Bert too.
Do
You do
you-
not understand how you sound. And I go, then you need to figure out that how I'm sounding is not what you think. And he's
Right.
like, that's not true. You're going to walk out in the world and you're going to go, are you kidding me? And then someone's going to think you're like going to kick their ass.
Well,
And you're
maybe
just
they
saying,
should think it a little bit. I think everybody's a little.
I'm pretty nice, but
You are very nice. And
But-
I get when your voice
I
gets
hear
you.
excited.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
because you're feeling like some version of an emotion. It's not always mad. My kids
Yeah.
like to, I think they're also gaslighting me because like I'll be
course they are.
emphatic and I'll be like, hey, you need to pick up your shoes, man. These are in the middle of the floor. I'm going to trip over them. And my son will be like, God, you're so mad all the time. And I'm like, that's not mad. You want to see me get
Right.
mad?
I'll show you
Say
mad.
I'm mad. I'll show you mad.
that's so funny.
We also Midwesterners hit each other when they're excited. Or
Oh,
Stop.
you, so
Yeah.
happy. You're, look how good
Or-
you look today.
yeah.
You know, do a weird pat. Now here, everyone's like, I think she just tried to fight me. And you're
Yeah.
like, no.
Or hit on me. She just
Yeah.
touched me. It's
That's
like,
Southern
no,
too. That's
yeah.
just not LA
Yeah.
or
Mm-mm.
New York.
Yes.
No one touches anybody. And everybody
We're
in the
big
South, you touch
touchy-feely
everybody
people.
Yeah.
for everything, just in
Yeah.
the conversation. I do it with my kid driving Isla to school, and I'll just put my hand on like her arm, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just touching you. I'm just touching you. I'm your mother.
I get that
You know.
so much.
I love
totally-
it.
And
8 and 10, 10 and 12.
10
Yeah.
and 12.
our
My
10-year-olds are 5 weeks apart.
Yep. And my 12-year-old is sick in the middle of, or just started 7th grade. So I'm open to all the advice you have. Look at you right now.
I know.
Look at you here
She's like-
taking in that I've got a 7th grade. It's been a journey.
Is your 7th grader a girl or a boy?
boy? His
Okay.
name's Finn.
Aw.
And he's darling. He is
Aw.
really darling. He's just, if there is a line, he puts his toe against it just to see how far he can go. Like he thought that he tried using the word, what was it? Fleck? Like he was going to use the word fleck because he thought that sounded close enough to the F word. Can
yeah.
I cuss on this?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Because he was like, fleck it or something. I was like, that counts as fuck it in this house. Just so you
Yes.
know, like you
Right.
don't get to, you're
The
not
intent
driving
is
right
there.
side of the word. Like
Right.
you're going to get in trouble for that.
Right.
So he's doing things like that all the time.
He's a good boy. And so when we became, he really is. He's so sweet.
He and
he's
Jen
like
are the
mine.
same
Yeah.
height right now, which
Same
blows my
height.
mind.
It's we always joke because we were good friends before Kristin met her husband on a Thursday. I was pregnant on a Tuesday,
Truth.
basically. And I'd been
Get it
dating my
done,
husband
baby.
forever. And so
Yeah.
Finn was born and I got to practice on him because
Yeah.
I had never really been around babies, but she was like,
Hold him and just so I can get out of this damn house.
absolutely. So he's a sweet boy.
And you have a 10-year-old,
And an 8-year-old.
no, 10-year-old boy or girl.
Oh, 10-year-old boy
So
Dash
2
him.
boys. Got it.
and an 8-year-old girl named Delilah.
Aw. Is
Yeah.
your 12-year-old a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Boy. So
Finn, Eleanor's 10, and then Dashiell's 10, and then Delilah is 8. So we always say we have a 12, 2 10s, and an 8
Yeah.
because we share our children basically.
Mhm.
But we started I Mom So Hard, and the video started kind of taking off because Jen forgot her daughter's name. So it was the most
yeah.
delightful moment. And that was
Hysterical.
very indicative of where we were as mothers.
But it's so friggin' relatable. Your brain does not work for years.
Forever. My brain doesn't work now.
Well, it doesn't work the same. Ever.
Never.
No, not ever.
They ruin, I mean, they change us.
They
Now, do
ruin
you-
is a good word about some things that happen for sure.
And
It's-
also, but I love
Sleep ruined.
It's
Sleep ruined.
oxytocin is like black mold that eats your brain or
Right.
something.
pelvic
because
floor
it's-
ruined,
Ruined.
nipples ruined,
Oh
Ruined.
God. Horrible.
body kind of ruined,
Weird
but
skin looks
then
like
my-
oatmeal now.
my
I'm
care
not-
of giving a shit is
also
ruined.
but also which is magical.
100%.
Don't you feel like that?
Ruin
Like,
that all day.
Ruin
Yeah.
that all day. Ruin whether I give a shit if I'm wearing makeup to go to Trader Joe's or like what your perception of me is at like a volunteer event. Like I'm there, so
Yeah.
I'm clearly doing something right. Like
Right.
I don't, it just feels good to be a little free of feeling confined by what people think of you.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. A lot of things in your adult life bring that. It's not just kids. It's
No,
getting
sure.
married. It's like being secure in what you do for a living. Even if you're not super wealthy or whatever, being secure in what, like if you're a
Yeah.
school teacher
Yeah.
and you're taking care of yourself and you get good at your job, it takes
feels
10
good.
years to get good at any job you do. It doesn't matter what it is. It
100%.
takes at least 10 years. So by the time you get into your 30s, you start really giving less of a shit.
And
you
I
have
think that's
less
glorious.
time, too.
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't really, if you have any free time, I think you should be going to the gym, they say, or something like we.
I don't know
Not doing
about that.
that.
Well,
But you're a big worker outer.
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you why. Okay. So I'm 53. And when I was 49, I was getting up from the dryer and I had a really hard time actually, and I'm not heavy. I was like maybe 10 pounds heavier than I am now, maybe 10. And I was like, I should not be actually struggling to just get
you
off
like bend down, getting stuff out of the dryer,
and then
just
I'd have to
up.
like pull myself up instead of pushing myself up with my legs. And I went, if I'm like this at 49, what's 69 going to look like?
Yeah.
Right.
I better go get myself in a gym. And I'm not a workout by myself girl. I don't like working out. So my friend invited me to join her with her trainer. And I work out with her and another friend with a trainer because we have so much fun.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Together that we like sweat and die and suffer and laugh our butts off together. We have
you
so much
look
fun.
great, so you must be feeling like you're getting results. Like you must
100%.
And are you lifting weights or what are you doing?
Almost all that I'm doing. He's so awesome. He
is this the angry Georgian?
Yes.
Okay.
He's not angry.
I'm not angry.
He's the yeller. The yeller. He yells like me. He has like 3 specialties. He is the trainer for the U.S. Olympic beach volleyball team.
Oh,
men?
He's not the official
because I would just go
and men's.
Both.
He's the side trainer. He doesn't work for the Olympics.
Oh wow!
He has like 3 teams that are on the Olympics come to him and train like personally.
Wow!
So he trains Olympic beach volleyball. He works on geriatrics, so like
God bless him.
65 and up.
oh.
And he works on people who are rehabbing an injury. And I was rehabbing an injury.
Okay.
My friend was, and her friend was. But once he gets you in his little circle and he gets that injury rehabbed, he gets super into maximizing your body.
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
the beach volleyball. So we end up working out a lot. We all show up and the beach volleyball players are working and we're like, oh my God, that's what we're doing today. There's no way that I can do that. And then I do it.
And then you must
That's
feel
great.
great.
And I feel like I could pick up this house and walk it across the street. Like
That feels
emotionally, I feel like I am the baddest bitch walking because I watched that 6'2" Olympic volleyball player do what I just did. Obviously not with her weight and not with her reps and not with her speed, but the same exact exercise where you go, okay, you're hanging from your arms with a rubber band wrapped around your feet and your knees, and you're doing ab crunches hanging in air. There's no way I can do that. And then he'll set me up and I do it.
It's always awesome when you surprise yourself too.
Every day.
That's amazing. Yeah. I always feel like when I work out, because I'm one of those people that in my head, this is honest to God how I see it. I'm like, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to be the one you want on your team. I'm not going to bring everybody down.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to drag somebody. I'm going to be able to like, I know I'm going to be able to hunt. I know I'm going to be able to fish. I want to be able to bring a lot to the table. So I always think to myself, like, I'm going to get, and I love when I'm at a workout class because I look around and I'm like, if I were picking my zombie apocalypse team, I'm not anything against 22-year-olds. God bless you. You're young and you're strong and whatever. But I'm looking at like the 50-year-old women on the treadmill and I'm like, that's who I'm picking first and foremost. Because not only does she have grit, she has life and she has understanding and she's going to be a great teammate.
And she has a bag with everything you need to survive.
And she's a
in
bag.
it too.
She knows
snacks.
how to sew, hunt, fish. Like she's going to be a survivor where 22-year-olds still figuring out the world.
Trying to call his mom.
Right.
That's so funny. Mom, how do I wait? I can't
What's a
Google that.
dryer sheet? I don't think I can.
How does it work when you go on the road with your kids? Wife of the Party is brought to you by Factor. I love Factor because I don't have time to come up with healthy meals, and Factor makes healthy meals super easy. Their meals are microwavable, 2 minutes. They're delicious. They can be keto. They can be vegetarian. They can be whatever you want them to be. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, and it can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You save time, you eat well, and you stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. I'll tell you something else I really like that Factor has. They have some smoothies that I like the strawberry banana, and there's a mango smoothie. And I add a little protein powder to that. I just kind of take a sip, add a little protein powder, shake it up, and it's delicious. I love that for my kind of middle of the day snack. Head to factormeals.com/wife50 and use code wife50 to get 50% off. That's code wife50 at factormeals.com/wife50 and get 50% off. Wife of the Party is brought to you by DraftKings. Step into a world of nonstop action on DraftKings Casino. Play the classics like blackjack, roulette, and slots. Plus, enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. Right now, new customers can get a deposit match up to $100 in casino credits when you deposit $5 or more. All you have to do is sign up, select the offer, make your deposit, and start playing from a full suite of games. Your way is the only way to play on DraftKings Casino. Play online on your time, in your space, and within your means. It's safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you're ready. Download the DraftKings Casino app now, sign up with promo code WOTP, and new customers get a deposit match up to $100 in casino credits when you deposit $5 or more. Only on DraftKings Casino with promo code WOTP. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Please play responsibly. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 and over. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. One per opted-in new customer. Minimum $5 deposit. Max match $100 in casino credits which require one-time playthrough within 7 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/playerschoice. Restrictions apply. How does it work when you go on the road with your kids?
Well, the first tour, they came with us, which was a hoot, but it was hard. And it was literally like a magical experience that we always laughed because we went from town to town to town. And so we'd have to unload, and we had all the kids, we had the husbands, we had our assistant, we had our tour manager, we had 2 grandparents, we have an auntie. Like,
my youngest had her own like huge suitcase, and the hardest part for like our side of everything was finding milk.
Yeah, she was 2.
Planes don't have milk.
Yeah,
like,
she wasn't even 2. We celebrated her birthday on the road.
On the road, yeah.
Wow.
She
It was
like
crazy.
still in diapers, so she just had loads of baby stuff with her. Her first word was Colin, which is Kristen's husband.
Oh my gosh.
He's just a big old bear, and she just would want him to hold her all the time. And then my daughter's in the background like it was, to them, it was the greatest experience they can remember, because we just went all these different places, and they sleep like, like tree trunks.
Yeah.
But for me, it was a tough, it was extraordinary and awesome and the most fun, but also really hard. You can imagine, you deal with tour and having your kids and being displaced and going to new hotels and it's all these factors that you just don't see coming at you, that you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go play for 2,000 people. Then right after this, I got to go find Benadryl. Like you're just doing, it's incredible. But so then as the tours, we did our next tours, we kept the kids home. So now our husbands stay home with the kids, and
yes,
we're understanding.
Yeah. The kids can take care of themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Better
now.
Yeah. They're at the point where like they can make sure their own hair is combed. And
kind of.
Obviously, men have a slightly lower bar for that kind of thing than the moms do. And also, like when we were out of town one time, my husband our daughter didn't even go to the elementary school, but he was dropping off our son, and one of the teachers braided her hair. And I was like, they think I'm an alcoholic there because they don't know what our life is. They just think I am not caring for these kids, but
funny.
Yeah. And we
such a
would get
expectation.
I remember Eleanor's kindergarten year, which was Dashiell's kindergarten year, is the year we were gone the most.
Yeah.
And that just still like breaks my heart. Like I'll see pictures of like their one of their performances, or I missed Eleanor's dance recital, like big things like that I'm like, I was in Ohio on that one, or I was.
They're going to hold it against us and bring it up in counseling.
But I
know,
disagree.
No,
you do.
You know why?
Good.
What an amazing example you're setting for them of following a dream and achieving what your heart and soul desires. And what better example can you set for your children than how to adult?
Well, thank
Right?
you for that. I hope so, because you you don't get that time back. And we know that, and it's precious. And you're like, am I doing the right thing? Like, and we felt like we were so, and we still are, we're so grateful and we have such gratitude and we're excited about doing this thing. We still love it. And we have this wonderful friendship and our families all get along and it's magical. But we, you know, at the end of the day, we do love being moms. And when you miss something big, it hits hard.
Of course.
It does.
I didn't mean to discount
No.
it hit hard. But I think the flip side is this. I grew up with divorced parents.
Oh,
so
wow.
one parent couldn't make it to stuff. And what did show up from that parent was intention.
Oh, isn't that
Right?
interesting?
I would have been there if I possibly could. Your kids know that.
Okay.
They don't doubt that. It makes it less of a choice, or it did for me anyway, to say you chose to work instead of. He was too far away. He lived so far away, my dad, that for him to actually get there,
He couldn't have.
it would have been too hard. So then you go, oh, I can't get that. But when he did show up, he was 100% there.
all in for
all
you.
in.
I had
everything.
divorced parents, and they lived very close to
And
one
they
another,
were-
and they chose to not come to things. So
well, notice I was only speaking about one parent.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
The one parent got
Yeah.
that shit done. The other
Yeah.
parent, not so much.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a real mixed bag on
But I
Jen's
think
side.
it's great because our husbands, we always say they're not like the 1950s, 60s parents. They're not like, you know, having cocktails
Only
at
mom
night
can
and
do
reading the
this.
paper. Like they're both like so involved and like learned how to do our daughter's hair and stuff like that. They're really cool. Like we married the right dudes
Right.
for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to have so much understanding for your spouse being on the road, and you know, it's,
Is that hard for you, or is
Yeah.
that something? I mean, I know you've said before that you like it, but is it? Do you find, because it's such a fun perspective for us, is like, do you find that like when he comes back into town that there's a shift that you have to like a reintroduction of sorts?
Oh, we call it reentry.
okay, great.
That's
so do we.
what we call it.
So do we.
Much like you, we had 3 other families that we all co-parented our urban family.
Yeah.
We called ourselves the campers because the first time we went somewhere together, we went camping.
Oh, how nice.
So we have campers and camper kids, and all the camper kids are like cousins. There's 8 camper kids.
yeah, we have that
We have
too.
two that are sophomores in high school, 4 that are seniors in high school, and 2 that are sophomores in college. So we have 2 on the low and high, and 4
Yeah.
in the middle. So the 4 in the middle are obviously how we all became friends, because all 4 of them were the same age. It all started in 1st grade.
Mm.
So one of the other families is my friend Sandy, who's on here a lot. Her husband is a really big movie producer and is gone for months at a time.
Yeah.
My husband's gone for months at a time. So she and I called each other wife
Oh,
and
that's-
would take turns making dinner.
That's
And
nice.
picking up and
Yeah.
dropping off and running homework and running. And we'd always be like, your kids into tennis? Perfect. Mine too. Same lesson.
They go to the same
drop
school?
off. Went to the same school.
Oh,
all the way
that's-
till
that's a-
middle school. We all started separating in middle school.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we kept a lot of Sandy and I kept a lot of the co-parenting because our spouses, who we love and adore,
Right.
are gone. And because she also has reentry at her house.
Yep.
And for people who don't live that life, for most people, you'd be like, there's no way that this is a happy relationship, because
Right.
for that, like 12 to 36 hours, depending on how long Bert's been gone, it looks like shit. It's like a shit show where
Yeah.
everyone the apple cart has been overturned, stomped on, broken, thrown down
Yep.
the hill, and gone, good luck.
Is that right when he comes home?
right?
or
when he
is
got
it-
off
does
the
it take a
friggin-
little
as
time
soon
to
as he
simmer?
nope.
Because we're right out of the gates. But we're
Shows
not gone
up
months.
that
We're
way.
gone. We have like rules, and we don't tour as much as Bert. I don't know how. Like we do three or 4 shows. We did a summer tour, and then we'll be home for a couple months, or we'll do 2 or 3 nights, and then we're home for 2 weeks, and we'll do 2 or 3 nights. So which works out great.
Yeah, even the summer tour,
But-
we make sure we're back like 2 or 3 days
Then we're
Mhm.
to see the kids, or if we're going to be gone for a while, the
We
husbands
bring
will
them
bring
to
the
us.
kids.
Right.
Yeah,
But there's
Right.
still, I feel like, especially with husbands, maybe after 12 hours, you're supposed to be telling them how wonderful they are. Thank you so
What,
much.
they let you have 12 hours?
I mean, I don't know. I
generous.
can't. The thing I learned is to let them say, "You don't know how hard this is."
Yeah.
That's my favorite. And I'm like, this is part of the gameplay. I'm like, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I've never
But-
done this ever.
Yeah.
Re-entry is a tricky thing, man. And then you come in and, if the house, like, it sounds terrible, but you're like, you see this disruption in this thing that you have a certain standard for. And then you have to let that go so that it's copacetic. And then you come back and you're like, can you brush her hair? You can't see. She's wearing a Big Johnson t-shirt.
That's
Can
what
you
I'm
do
saying.
something bit
like even if you're on your own, you're expected to like thrive as the mom.
yes.
But like the dad can just
Gets
survive
loose.
and he gets an A+ for that.
yeah.
It's true. It's a very difficult double standard. But
Yeah.
yeah, that reentry piece is very disruptive to everybody that lives in my house.
Yeah.
And including Bert, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I have compassion for him because I've said this many times to our kids. I always prep. I mean, they're old enough now that I don't have to do that. But when they were younger, I'd be like, okay, Dad's coming home today. Reentry. Like everybody just get your
God
head
bless you. You're
straight.
that's
I
so
know. We
get your
got to
head
get
straight.
compassion.
You're
I know.
Reentry. And then I knew Bert had spent 4 or 5 days minimum with adoration,
right.
with assistant, with eating what he wants, doing what he wants, sleeping how long he wants. Everything was 100% on his terms. And how difficult it was for him to step back into a world with softball practice
Yeah.
and pickup and piano. And I have one person who cleans my house 1 day a week. And he comes at 9 a.m. and Bert wants to sleep.
Yeah.
And he's pissed. And I have to, I don't have to. I chose to see him from his perspective and
That's
what
sweet.
that looks
That's
like when
nice.
he
You're a
walked in
very
the house.
evolved person.
I know.
But because it's not just about my experience. And if it's just about my experience, then I'm teaching my children to be selfish
You are.
only. I have to teach them to be compassionate
yeah.
as well as selfish, as well as generous. There's parts where I go, this sucks for me, but let me tell you how this sucks for Dad.
I'm going
And
to
now
tell
I can
you,
see the
I'm
whole
going to take this soundbite. Can you guys send that to me, please?
Yeah. And just
And I'm going to show that to my husband. And I'm going to say, has it ever occurred to you to think about this?
well, I was going to say that we do like the reason we spend like 4 days out and come back is you have mom guilt no matter what you're
Of
doing,
course.
even though we're like out.
It's
and
the best case scenario.
providing for our families. Yeah, we're not complaining about it, but we miss stuff and we feel bad. You
Sure.
do, and even though like sure you're out having drinks and partying and
But there are other
expensive.
jobs that people may not think about.
We
Just
always say that too.
Flight attendants.
Pharmaceutical
Sure.
rep,
Yeah.
doctors, like all these other things.
Yes.
Like you're missing out on stuff if you're somebody who is in a career space, or like even I would argue to say that there's that ache that you're missing out on your life if you're a mom who is focusing solely on keeping the house and staying at home. And like this notion that a stay-at-home mom works less than a mom that has a full-time gig somewhere is crazy to me, because I just think that there's just moms and you just work, period, full stop.
Constantly.
Well,
So
yeah.
you can ache for the other side of your life that isn't there, that we get, like you're talking about. Like I mean, there's nothing better than when we walk out on stage and we're in front of thousands of women. Literally, our average size, our audiences are about 2,000 with 3 dudes.
Right.
And it is the most fun. It's the most
Yeah.
magical fun. And so female, like it's what women do together that is so great, where they're just like, they can't out compliment you. They just,
Yeah.
everybody wants to like hug and hold hands and scream and get rowdy and have too many drinks and be saucy. And we get to be a part of that. That's so fun. But you're right. You come back in to the world and then you feel this like where you're back into a different part of your brain. And it is an adjustment. I think for us, we're used to it and we can do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think women do adjust a little easier.
Yeah.
Just in their makeup. You know, if you think about,
Oops.
if I think about Bert as a person,
Yeah.
he doesn't do well with change in general.
Right.
He doesn't do well with multitasking. Women
are
do this
very
thing
good
called like
multitasking.
webbing in their brain.
Yeah.
And men are just very linear. And that's
Yep.
just like, that's like a scientific fact, maybe. I don't know if
It
it's
is
a
a
fact,
fact.
but it's scientifically, that is the way our brains work. So for women to go and do this amazing show with all these people and all this adoration, and then to kind of stop down and go back into regular life seems a lot more manageable for someone who webs in their brain
Yeah.
and is used to like breastfeeding while also like doing accounting.
Right.
And at the same time, mowing the lawn with your foot. Where
Right,
a guy's
right.
like, I can mow the lawn
Yeah.
and I'll get to the
And
accounting
then I need
later.
everybody to give me a compliment about how well I mowed the lawn
Yeah.
and that I did mow the lawn. And then you have to have sex with me just to make me feel appreciated.
I think that like motherhood is such a humbling experience that like we don't ever like we meet these women on tour and we just feel like they're our friends that we like finally
Yeah.
got to meet in person or something like that. So like none of it really feels like, I don't know if we feel special kind of when we're on tour.
Oh,
We
I
feel
do
like,
because I am so unpopular in my house. I'm like,
Well,
when
that-
I go on the road, people like me.
Oh, Bert would
You
say
know?
that all the time. He would go, "You have no idea who I am in the world." And we're
Oh!
like, yeah, it doesn't really matter who you are in the world.
God bless
because
you.
who you are in this house
Woo!
is dad.
Yeah.
And that's where the buck stops. So
Yeah.
guess what? Pickup is at 3.
I love
Have
God
fun.
bless you.
Because I refused until probably about 2 years ago. I just refused to buy into that
Good.
that script he kept saying in his brain. You don't know you have no idea how big I am in this world because it doesn't matter to my kids. That world,
No one
Yeah.
you may
cares.
as well go to the bank as far as they're concerned and work at
Yeah.
the bank.
Yeah.
You may as well be a checkout person at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is.
You're supposed to just be a dad.
Kids are
You know,
the
you're supposed to be-
universal equalizer. They like bring
Yeah.
everybody down. We all work for our kids.
We
at the
all
end of the
do.
day.
We were on Kelly Clarkson, which we thought was the coolest thing for us. Like we got to be on there a few times. I don't think I ever made it onto the show without feeling like I was going to crap my pants because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And she's so awesome and she's so disarming and she's everything you want her to be. And she, arguably has the greatest voice ever.
Uh-huh.
And she literally told us that her kids scream at her to stop singing in her car. And I'm like, if somebody's telling Kelly Clarkson to stop singing in their car, which somebody would probably pay $1 million to have Kelly Clarkson sing to them
Yes.
in their car.
Yeah.
Then we are all just need to take a note because
Yeah.
that is exactly how it's supposed to be. And I think it's lovely that you remind them. And as an outsider, we love, that Bert, you go on TikTok and you look up a recipe for a burrito or you go look up how to like mend a pair of pants and somehow Bert comes onto your FYP. Like those guys, it's incredible. So I have been watching and he's talked about it a couple times and I'm like, he is so madly in love with you.
Yeah, he is.
But he is successful in who he is because he's got you
That's
Yeah.
true.
bringing him down to earth a little bit.
This year's 20 years.
Get out.
We're together 22 and a half. Something like
Where'd
that.
you meet?
We met here. We met bowling.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, we had mutual friends who were like, just bring whoever bowling. And we separated into couples versus singles. And he and I were on the singles team. And I asked him out and he completely blew it off because he was terrified of me. And then
Yes.
finally I was like, what's your problem, dude? You should just ask me out. It's going to be okay. And he asked me out. So I had a feeling that he was afraid of women.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
afraid of love, like scared to get hurt.
Sure, because you think it's
Yeah.
going to change
Chicken.
you. I was there.
I think that's
yeah.
part of it. But I think the other part of it is he's such a soft little soul. I always say he's a 9-year-old teenager.
Oh.
Like his
That-
little soul is 9 and then he has like teenage compulsions like sex and beer and that kind of shit.
It's weird that
Food.
I can say I agree with that, but I have been seeing. I'm on TikTok a lot, and boy, I do see a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you.
He's like
That's
9-year-old teenager.
but he's delightful. He's also
He's
that's what
delightful.
makes him
Mhm.
so charming. Is that 9-year-old teenager element of him? It makes you're like, I just want to have a beer with that guy. He's fun.
He's
that
very
guy's
fun,
a good
yeah.
fun time.
He's very fun.
But you guys
you
met.
asked him out.
I asked him out and then when he showed up for the date, he thought I was just a booty call. He told his roommate, oh, she's just after me for my body.
God bless him.
You know,
He's like fingers.
confidence.
He's like fingers crossed.
Right. But when he showed up, I was dressed for a date. I was in heels and a dress, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is a real date!" And he had an immediate panic attack, couldn't tolerate his shoes, had to unbutton his shirt, couldn't eat, could barely talk to me, was a wreck, and then just wouldn't let me leave the date. Like we finished dinner and he'd go, how about dessert? Then we go to dessert and he'd go, how about a drink, a nightcap? Go get a night. How about we go to Ralph's and get a 12-pack? How about, and I finally at one point I was like, okay, bye-bye. Like, good night, love ya, bye-bye. And he called me at like 9 the next morning. What are you doing tonight?
Oh my God.
Next day, what are you doing tonight? Next day, what are you doing tonight? And I went, oh, this guy doesn't know how to play games.
No, he's
like, he doesn't know how.
That's why he's scared in the beginning.
9-year-old.
You know?
yeah.
Teenager. He had no
He just
clue.
fell in love
Which I
right away,
kinda
though.
love.
He did. Well, apparently we'd met like 3 times before that, and I have no memory of it.
Oh,
So
my
he
God.
already maybe was like, who's that cute girl?
I met my
Yeah.
husband's like that. He's, he's a funny guy, but he's like a real like soft, sensitive person. And we met at the Venice Dog Park
Uh-huh.
years ago, and we were the only people not shooting up in the dog park.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's
Venice Dog
it's
Park is a
rough
real
place.
fun time. A lot of people that live in campers.
Yeah, it's a rough place, but I used to go there because I was in Groundlings
Mhm.
and Sunday company, so I'd go and study my scripts every Sunday morning because then I would go for a long time, and I had to like let the dog run before I was gone for several hours, and so he just started coming on Sundays because he knew what my schedule was,
Hello, that's
and
adorable.
we became friends. We knew each other for how long? He used to be in my phone as dog park guy until just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like everybody knew this guy, and they're like, he hasn't asked for your phone number yet. And I'm
Took
like,
so long.
it took so long. And then finally got my
Aw.
email from a mutual friend. And then
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and just sleep with him right away. And then,
That's how
And
it
it
works.
was over.
then it was over.
That's
and
what
how
I
long
did.
ago was that?
It's 15 years now.
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. How about you? How'd you
So I was teaching high school at a school that's like I don't know what they call them in Georgia, but out here it's like alternative education or continuation school. Like tough kids that came from all walks of life had to go to my school because they got kicked out of public school for getting in trouble. So all my kids were either like on probation,
Last chance
or,
kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
last chance for sure. Like I would call the probation officer before I would call the parents because I was like, so it was tough. But I was like, man, these guys are funny. I want to put on a comedy show, and I don't want it to be at the shitty school because we were so underfunded. The school gymnasium was called a gymnatorium, and it looked like if you say Orange is the New Black, you look at like the commons area. That's what it looked like. I'm like, I'm not doing a show in here. I want them to feel good. So this new theater in Santa Monica called the West Side Comedy Theater had just opened, and I was like, well, I've been an improviser for a while, and I know in the improv space I am a strong 8.5. So I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna
8.5.
bat my lashes
18.
and I'm gonna get this theater space. And I went down to the theater and I walked in, and there was this beefy guy that tall beard, sound familiar? Like a burly man on a ladder changing lights, wearing a tool belt, and I was like, fuck, he's
tool
hot.
belt in
Shit,
Los
I should have done more to myself. Like, oh, my 8.5 doesn't measure up. And so then I was so nervous and dorky, but I said, I want to do this teaching program. I want to bring the kids to your theater. And he was like, well, we have this COPE program where I would come in and help. And I was like, yep. And then, so we taught together, and I was so in love with him. I was so crazy about him. And he was he did not pick up on what I was putting down, such uncool things. I would say the uncoolest shit. I would bring him food. I was like, I am here for you, whatever. And every time that he would come to the school, I would get dressed up, and my students would go, yo, Miss Hensley, is Colin come to the school today? And I'm like, why? What do you mean? And they were like, it's the only time you brush your hair. And I'm like, shut up. Did he say something?
But he's not noticing.
You don't know what you're
You
talking
don't know what
about.
you're talking about. Why is he here? Or do you think there's something there? So we finally, he went away to do this gig. He was touring with, he would tour colleges, and he was doing something like that, and came back, and I was like, I don't know how much more clear I have to be, but we are in love. And then we went out, and he had way too many drinks because he was so nervous.
Yeah.
And then he got so drunk, and I'm like, well, I'm not sleeping with you now. Cause like I have been around the block. I'm not doing that. So then I slept with him the next day. And then
Thank God you waited
and then
that
I
long.
was like,
She's a
Jen always
lady.
says, I was like radio silence. Like she
I
didn't hear
was
from
like-
me. And then I was like, I really love this guy. And if you don't like him, I'm going to be so mad. And we met and she met him and
I
loved him.
Yeah.
Aw.
And then it was like 15 minutes later, I was pregnant. Well, I got the neat full circle is that he proposed during one of those shows. We ended up teaching
Aw,
together.
that's amazing.
And so my students were these eclectic, like funny, naughty, textured comedians that were just, you know, kind of misunderstood. And I loved them. And so when we did our third show together, he proposed during a game of freeze
on the
tag.
stage.
That's amazing.
It was cool.
And
So-
Colin had emailed everybody and said, Kristin students are doing this show. We might jump up on stage with them. And this is really important to her. She would love it if you were there. And my husband goes, well, he wasn't my husband at the time. He was my long-term boyfriend. And he goes, I think he's going to propose. We need to make sure that we're there. And sure enough, he's got video.
Yep.
He just knew somehow
Yeah.
that like,
And we were very new. All of this in, we were still only at like, I don't know, 8 days. No, I'm just kidding.
no, it was,
Like,
I was like,
six
what?
months.
6 months,
6
maybe.
months or something.
And
They
then
just
we got
knew.
engaged. Britt and Jen took us out for champagne. We drove to a wedding. We celebrated. And I was pregnant within 15 seconds.
Yeah,
and then
that
I
night.
called her. I go, I gotta push the wedding up. What do you do when you have to do that? What do you? So we did, and we didn't need it to be. We had a beautiful wedding. We did all the things we wanted to do, but I think I would have been just fine to like elope or go to the. I don't know. I didn't need that, but I'm glad I had it. But I was 5 months pregnant when we got
Yeah.
married.
Same.
Were you really?
Yep. Shotgun wedding.
Get
I
out!
actually have a picture with my dad, me and Bert, and the preacher with a shotgun.
Get out of
because I
town!
was
Could you
5 months
tell? Were
pregnant.
you showing?
I popped.
Me too.
No, I popped like 2 days later.
That is me. Oh my
Yep.
God. I was so round, but I got really round about a week later.
Yep, same.
Get out of town.
I just wore some Spanx and I had an Empire waistline
you were
dress I
smart.
bought from David's Bridal
Yep.
because we could not afford to get married. But I wanted to get married.
I get that. Me too.
But I wanted, and I didn't have a big wedding.
Yeah.
My wedding cost $5,000. It was like the best, but
Wow.
it was a blast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bought this dress thinking, okay, if I pop, I can kind of make it work.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I was like 2 days later, we were on our honeymoon. I went, shit, nothing fits. I mean, it
Yeah.
just went bloom.
Yeah, I look like a belle. I always say I look like a fat country singer because I tried to do the Empire waist thing, and then I told the guy in the dressing room, I go, look, my mom is here and she's helping me pick out dresses, but I haven't told her that I'm pregnant yet. So whatever dress I
she
pick
hadn't
out,
told me yet either.
it has
but
to like open in the back because I wasn't at the safe. You know,
Yeah.
the doctor was like,
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, can we put something in the back so it can expand? And he's like, yeah, we'll put in here. It'll expand plenty. I go to my OBGYN. She's like, you'll be fine. This is fine. I had an inch of fat on the back of my dress. You want to talk about garbage?
Are you garbage?
Are
Yeah.
you garbage? I had fat on the back of my dress because
How
I was
funny.
too big. I had a 9-pound baby. That's a big baby.
Ooh, that's a big baby.
So I was very pregnant, but I was like you. It was like, "Broot." The
Yep.
next we were in Chicago. It was the first time I had heartburn, that my feet hurt, and you could visibly tell I was pregnant.
But I knew when we were trying on dresses because they had champagne and she didn't have any. And I was like, this girl drinks.
Yeah.
There's no way. She's pregnant.
Something's rotten here.
Yeah.
I was like,
So
can I
I
have a
smell
soda
a
water? Jen's
skunk.
like, she's knocked
Oh,
up.
boy.
That's great.
So then I have a great memory at my wedding because Jen's husband, who God bless him, is just a little slower on the old get down on one knee situation. I just remember being very sober at my own wedding, walking to the like honeymoon suite where I think I probably took a bath because my feet hurt
Yeah.
so bad. And walking through, and Jen had champagne. We gave out koozies for our wedding present or
Mhm.
goodbye present.
Yep.
And she had a champagne flute inside the koozie. And she had jumped in our pool at our wedding. So she's wet.
I
She's got
love it.
mascara hanging down. She's wearing this taffeta dress. And she is just railing on her husband, like, we've been together for too long. And she is so mad at him. And I was like, we got to get out of here. Let this happen on its own.
Yeah.
Hurricane a coming.
Yeah, y'all better buckle up. This is what we all been here
He's
for.
blowing through.
Yeah, somebody ain't sleeping with somebody, they better start fighting, or it's not a wedding.
Right.
I would like to say that was the only conversation like that had to be had.
What was he waiting for?
I don't know, because he wasn't going to get anybody better, and he wasn't getting any
100%
younger
sure.
for sure. I mean, we'd been together like what? I guess 4 years, I guess. And I don't know. He just felt like
Yeah.
he's East Coast, and he, even despite his age, was like, and he's 8 years older than me, which isn't that much, but he was like, I need to be totally squared away in life before I take my
It was
wife,
noble
sort of.
reasons.
Yeah. And I was like, I kind of want to have kids, so maybe we should like get on this thing, So finally, he did.
He did. And their wedding was so beautiful. It's amazing that like that mermaid dress looked so gorgeous. I was like, you don't got a bump. What's going on? I mean,
So
how does that
funny.
work?
How does that feel? Must
How's
be
that
having
feel?
a good time with
Must
that
be having
champagne on
fun
your,
right there.
your wedding. Well, that's really cool. That's really
Thanks.
cool. How do you like being married?
Is
Oh,
this a trick question?
well, just
Um,
bring down the lights, please.
I'll start. I really, my husband and I are really good friends, and I like him. I do. And when we got married, like one of the big things that I had always liked about him dating was that he always woke up in a really good mood. Like he was a good time. And I'm like, you have to keep that up,
Right.
and he really has. Like
great.
it's I know he's really stressed out and like he's crabby in the morning. And we tell the kids, like, if you don't start out your day on the right foot, there's
You're
no
chasing
turning it around. Like you got to at least act happy in the morning, then see what happens. And I have fun with them. It's so much harder now because I feel like when we get to have a conversation, I am on my phone trying to finish up work or something like that, or send a PTA email or a message or something like that. So our kids are at the age where I'm like, we need to go on a vacation together or something
Yeah,
like
we
that.
need that
so
too.
we get to know each other again, because right now we're just like coworkers,
Mhm.
and that doesn't feel great. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that just happened to me recently. I've talked about this so much on this podcast. People are going to go fast
Okay.
forward.
No way.
But I started dating Bert again.
He said he made the most terrible joke, but it was great.
It was
but
a terrible. Why?
Because he was talking about how much
Sex?
sexing you guys are doing. How much
Yeah,
you bang a ring.
got to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it that you've been dating him again. I think people are going to hear that and go, okay.
Yeah. How do you mean? How does that?
I'll tell you exactly
Okay.
what I mean, because it's not the same as a date night. Remember when you were dating? Remember when you were teaching with your husband?
Yeah.
And remember when you saw him at the dog park?
Yeah.
And how you felt and how you thought about how you interacted with him
Yeah.
before you did it. Simple things like, you get into rote behavior when you're
Sure. Yeah.
married for a long time, when you have kids and you're in the thick of it and there's homework and drop off and soccer and, it's like a business relationship sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't like that when we were dating. When we were dating, I was like, oh, look who's up this morning. You're so cute in the morning. You're just the most adorable, precious thing ever. And so I just rephrased how I took in Bert. And then I also started thinking, when we were dating, we would plan a date.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, let's go to get tacos at our favorite taco restaurant. Great. We're both just dressed in sweats because we're tired. And we go eat and we go home. And that's our quote date night.
Yeah.
And we would,
and you talk about the kids the whole
and we
time.
talk about
you're
the kids the
there
whole
anyways.
time.
Yeah.
and sometimes we would elevate that. We'd go to a little bit nicer restaurant, but we always talk about the kids. So I've just like, no, let's go see concerts. Let's go see an art
Cool.
exhibit. Let's go out of town. Let's have a staycation. Let's rent a room at the Four Seasons in Woodland
Well,
Hills.
Hey, wow.
And guess what?
Bird of the
You're
shows.
like in a vacation and you're just 30 minutes away from your kids.
Yeah.
And his favorite one is he had to work in Hollywood and I was going to meet him over there just for a date night. And when I was on my way, I was like, how about you just get a room? And he was like,
Yeah.
let's do it.
My
But
pants.
It totally recalibrated almost
Because you're being flirty
everything
and
in our life.
that must be so. That's really. I hope you talk about it in every podcast because I think
Yeah.
married people often feel like I feel sometimes I'm like, am I stuck or did I? I love my.
Oh, no,
husband.
I felt that way too. I know exactly
Also,
what you mean.
sometimes I'm like, did I pick the wrong person? Not because I really think that, but because you get tired of, you're like, how could I have been so wrong? Like in the beginning, we never disagreed. And now I want to disagree with you just because I'm so used to fighting. Like
Right.
we're hot-headed couple. Like
Mhm.
we fight hard, we love hard, we yell when we're happy, we yell when we're mad. Like I think
They're a lot alike. I
we're
know
a lot alike.
she cringes when I say that, but they both are like, they're big personalities. They're
Yeah.
like
Right.
extra Irish. Can you be
Yeah.
that?
Double the Irish, double the fun.
Double the Irish, double the fun. It's I know. I'm like everyone's gonna think we're like we make the joke that we got called in to the police for having an agreement
Yeah.
because we're so loud.
That's
But
so
I think
funny.
like I think that's really smart that you're doing that because
I want to do that.
it's a good exercise on just being thoughtful and aware of the other person. And like you just said, you're that kind of person. It seems like you're somebody that goes, oh, he's re-entering this dynamic. We need to think about what he needs, which it's really easy just to think about what you need. But you also need to see the other person giving a shit about what you need too in order to do it.
When I was dating, even though I've always been sort of not good at that, but that has always been part of my process. It's like, oh, but what's going on for you?
Right.
So if I can understand what's going on for you, I can take things less personally, less seriously, less dramatically. So I'm actually
Yeah.
helping myself by trying to see what's going on for you because it makes me feel better about what's going on for me.
Right.
So I've always been that way.
I think you're like that.
I do. I have social anxiety, and so I
Mm.
learned a long time ago to ask people questions about themselves. And,
Yeah.
and it always just leads to more interesting conversations.
100%.
Anyways,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you see where you're connected and what you have
Yeah.
in common.
And you learn. And learning is a big part of life.
I was gonna just ask you another question about that. So you seem so like self-aware, like you've done a lot of introspection and like self-work.
Uh-huh.
So does Bert do the same? Or
Yes.
he does? Oh, that's
Mhm.
great. Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing about that. He's not he's very self-correcting and he is very introspective. But he also has anxiety disorders. And sometimes when he gets into a real triggered anxiety piece, the only perspective that exists is the one that's causing him anxiety. So I don't have any of
I
that.
feel like you just described me.
So
I was like, wait, who are we talking about? And I also have
I
a
feel
beard
targeted,
at
too.
times, so it's fine.
Leanne Kreischer, PhD.
Yeah,
No,
it really is.
but
It's I'm
yeah.
sitting here like, oh man, that's exactly how I view the world. Like when you're in it, you can't see anybody's perspective because you don't feel safe. You only have
That's
what you
right.
think you can trust
That's
your
right.
own. The hardest thing you'll ever do is when you're spinning is to trust what somebody else from the outside has to tell you. And you can only do that if it's the person on the outside is somebody you completely trust.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And the
you
other
feel
piece of
lost.
that is the person on the other side of it has to be the type of person that understands that what's happening over here is actually not reality.
Right.
Not to discount your feelings.
Sure.
Your feelings are absolutely happening. You are 100%. Bert had a colonoscopy Monday. Not my most favorite Monday.
Right.
He was picking fights with me about literally like navel lint. And I was like, dude, I don't have any. I don't know where
Yeah.
to get any. I don't even know. I have no idea what this navel lint is, but clearly it's my fault.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you just have to, as that other person, go, this has nothing to do with me. Nothing whatsoever. This is an anxiety attack. And tomorrow, we can get this all worked out.
Yeah.
But right now, whatever you need me to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry you have navel
I
lint.
don't
That's not
need-
my
I have
fault.
No idea what's happening here, but I love you. I'm sorry. And then when it all dissipates,
You think he was just
you
scared?
can go back. What's that?
You think he was just scared of the
Oh, do I
colonoscopy?
think he was just scared?
Oh, he's scared.
It's a huge trigger for him is anything medical.
Oh,
But see, I
gotta
know
get
that.
one too.
Flight is a trigger. Airline travel is a big trigger. Feeling left out of something that is really big in his mind is a trigger. Anything medical is a big trigger for him. Is this
You're the
sounding
same
familiar?
person. Put your shirt on, Kristen.
So,
Yeah. But so I'll ask that. We're the same person at this point.
Yeah.
Because so does he have ADHD?
he's never been diagnosed with that. We know that he has an anxiety disorder, for sure.
Her brain's always going like really fast and mine's like a fixating
Mhm.
one, but those sound like really similar.
Yeah, we just have similar personalities, I think, too. But I think that when you are somebody that I know for me, if I'm scared of something, I can get mean. I can get snarly at somebody else because I'm like, I need to change this emotion because the real one I have makes me kind of want to start crying. So I'm going to just pick a fight so I can have a different
protect
feeling.
yourself.
Yeah.
It's fight or flight.
It's
What happens when
yeah.
you have a panic attack is your brain
terrible.
chemically doesn't know if a bear is really chasing you or not. So your chemical brain goes, it's definitely a bear, 100% a bear. There's definitely a bear. There's a bear, a bear, a bear. So that you have to learn that an adaptive behavior where you can trust yourself to assess the situation and see what's really going on. But that is a habit
That's really hard.
that has to be formed and worked
Yeah.
on. Most people can't really do it without professional help.
We're
Yeah.
going to move in and start working on these things with you, Leanne, because
I
you
want to work out with the crazy Georgian.
Oh, he's the best.
I want to have you. You know what you need to do?
Huh.
We need to do like a girls' like 3-day getaway
yeah.
where you bring a bunch of women together and you just like talk us into being better people.
Yeah.
And then we have drinks at night and
I'm
eat a
not
bunch
the
of
best
food.
person on the planet. I make tons of mistakes. I'm too direct.
That's how
I'm
you
so direct sometimes
No,
that
I
people
like
are
that
off
you're
put by it.
direct.
And
But you're never. But I disagree. I think being direct is so great because in this town and in this place, the thing I find the most overwhelming is when somebody is vague or seemingly nice or like passive aggressive. My brain and the way that my brain is wired,
no, you
I'm
don't
like,
trust them.
I don't trust him, and then something goes off of me, and then I start going,
Triggers
"Is that a bear?
panic.
Is that a bear?" And I'm like, "What the? What,
That's exactly right.
Did I hear right? Am I misreading? Am I misreading?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I want to go back to Nebraska."
we just were talking, and we're lucky in business because if it's a no from one of us, it's a no from both of us. Like
Right.
we are able to like buy time when we're like in a meeting or something like that to go,
Yeah.
we're going to go back, circle back and business words and
business words and
words.
margaritas.
yeah, parking lot. And, yeah. So we have that like luxury, but Kristen's very good at like being direct, and I'm still working on it. Like at my age, like we were talking about something this last week where I said, Kristen, I knew I needed to say exactly what I meant. I knew it was important, and like that is a thought that I have to have and force myself to do,
Mhm.
because otherwise I'm like, oh, I'll be polite and deal with it later.
I'm
And
always
then-
like, I'm just going to say the thing. I'm just
Yeah.
going to say the thing. Your mole is distracting. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I am somebody that if I feel like if you have a feeling about me and I wasn't direct about how, it's like you said, you take on information because you assess how this person is feeling so that you can assess where you're at and all of that. I always just am trying to be direct because I never want to have anybody misread me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just say like, I'm in a bad mood. Yesterday I got bumped in with my car and I was mad. And at the end of the day, I was mad that I was wearing a dress when it happened. And Jen was like, you are unhinged. And I was like, right now I am.
just the,
But
the
I just
maddest
need to
thing, she
have-
was like, well, I couldn't really
I
get
couldn't
mad
mad
at a
'cause I was wearing a
dress.
dress.
And you like,
And then I was like, now I need to say mean things about people. So let me just go. And she's like, go ahead. And I was like, said all the mean things. And now today I'm like, I'm not a mean person. This is
Regret.
regret.
Yeah.
Can I walk back the 2 out of 5? Because the other 3 were right.
they weren't that bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, human beings are super fascinating to me, and we all process the world very differently, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to process the world differently than the way you process it.
Right. To learn from it.
To learn from it, right? So I don't have anxiety like Bert does. I don't
Yeah.
have panic. Both our kids have it.
They have panic attacks, both of them.
Yes. And so as a dead inside person that I am, that has none of that shit, I have 2 choices. I can make their life and my life miserable by refusing to try and understand how they process the world. Or I can put a lot of hard work in on my side and try to understand how they process the world. And at the end of the day, that hard work makes everything work,
Yeah.
right?
God bless
But
you.
it's not easy. It
Mm-mm.
is a putting aside of self on a regular basis that
And
I
you-
have to circle back to and go, okay, so now my part.
Right.
But I don't get my part in the beginning.
I have a really
To be
important
really
question.
Uh-huh.
What is your sign?
Leo, Aries moon, Aries rising.
Good
Leo,
God.
Leo what?
Mars.
What? August what?
20th.
Mm.
What are you?
15th.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah. Oh,
and
fire
that's
in this
the
room.
only sign I know which tells you exactly about me.
Well, the significance about mine is like 4 of the first 5 houses are all Leo or Aries or all fire.
I have a double Leo too. And it's
Mhm.
weird. My husband's a Leo. So
Mhm.
like we shouldn't even,
No,
but
you
all
should
my
not.
good friends are Leos besides Kristen.
But
Right,
she's a
'cause-
fire sign still.
It's still fire. Okay.
It's still fire sign. All my friends are Scorpios and Aquariuses
Oh,
because I need a little cooling down.
You need to
Like,
cool it down.
Too much heat.
we do. We have tons of Pisces in our lives too. Like
She pays attention to that. I saw
her
focus when this comes up. I'm like,
husband, her son
You
is a
saw
Pisces.
focus.
yeah.
But
Pretty
I
soon she'll have a cocktail and she'll be like, let's do your numerology.
do my tarot,
And I'm like,
go
if
get
the
my
tarot
out
cards
of
are
the
coming
car.
out, we're getting an Uber.
Well, but if the I'm wondering if you learned how to deal with Bert's anxiety because your kids had it, if that helped you, because kids have a thing and it comes from this real like genuine place where they're not faking it, And I'm not saying he is, but
No,
like
yeah, it's different.
when you're in a relation, like you're with your husband, I'll be like, well, you're just doing this to be selfish or you're making this about you or whatever. But like when it, my son who is unfortunately got my like mental health side of things will be like, he's 10. He's like, Mom, I'm really worried about dark matter getting into our universe. And I'm like, well, you're welcome for my depression and anxiety because that's
Yeah.
exactly why you're not sleeping.
My son's
But
like,
I see
"Ball."
like it kind of almost makes me like give myself a break, like just to see how genuinely this happens to him,
It's this wiring. Yeah, that completely helped me with Bert. So because Georgia, everybody thinks Isla's just like Bert and Georgia's like me, like on the inside, but they're actually a wonderful
Real mix.
combo cheese, right?
Does one look more like you? Is that what you
Georgia-
mean? Georgia looks like you.
Well,
and,
Georgia looks like Bert, but people think she functions like me.
okay.
She actually has her dad's anxiety, almost exactly.
Wow.
But she has my like linear thinking at the same time. It's very interesting. And Isla's brain is all over the place. Isla has his dyslexia, but Isla has a little bit of my dead inside and still has the anxiety.
I would like to challenge us to call it something other than dead inside.
Oh,
because
that's what
having
Bert
kids
calls
in front
it.
of you
Bert
is
get
like
it.
you are the
You
least
said
dead
it's-
inside
Well, it's
person.
because I'm so matter of fact. And
You're
I'm
like
like,
a beautiful garden. You are not dead inside.
well, anyway, I'm a rocky garden, I guess. I'm a rock garden. But when Georgia started having her stuff, I went, okay. Now I understand Bert. And then when Isla was born, I understood myself
Oh.
a lot better.
Yeah.
Little Isla Grace showed up and I went, oh, that's why I hit people till I was 21.
Yeah.
That's because I didn't have words. I didn't grow up where we expressed things verbally, whereas Bert expresses everything verbally. So when
Yeah.
I'd get in an argument with Bert, I would be like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I just
Oh,
know that I'm angry.
That's a trauma response.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about my
Oh,
childhood.
We got to
But-
have a barbecue together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just flatlines. I have no
Yeah.
words are gone. But part of that is watching my daughter, who Georgia was verbal like at birth. She
Yeah.
basically, I think she was talking pretty seriously before she was walking well. Not even joking. She
Yeah.
was just a verbal communicator. Isla jibber jabber, couple words here and there. But she would throw things. She would hit you.
Mm.
She'd put shit in her mouth. She would climb all over the couch and jump off. She climbed out of her crib at 18 months. She walked at 9.5 months.
Wow. That's
She climbed, shinnied up over the baby gates. She was all physical. So the way that she communicated with the world was not verbal.
Right.
And I didn't know that I was that way until I had that child. And I went,
Right.
"Guys, I have pictures. My dad took a picture of me. He came home from work one day and I was on top of the refrigerator and I was still in
Right.
diapers.
Well, meanwhile, you're doing
Don't know
these
how
really
to-
hard workouts with this trainer where you're getting all of this like
Physical.
feedback
Mhm.
from being physical. You probably just didn't, you had to discover this stuff about yourself. Were you athletic when you were in high school? In junior
I
high?
did not. I was a cheerleader in
Okay.
high school, but I went to 6 different schools in 12 years. My divorced parents. and
Yeah.
Back and forth, and no one had time to take me to practice or anything like that. So I couldn't do any athletics really until I got in high school and could like bum a ride from
Yeah.
people. And it was cheer because everybody that played basketball or softball or anything had been playing since they were
Yeah.
walking.
Right.
So I wasn't getting into that. But
Would you say you are though based just on what you know now about the way you work out and what you're
yes,
willing
I am
to?
an athlete.
Okay.
Yes,
There
I
you
should
go.
have played sports my entire childhood. I was super active.
Yeah.
I lived with my dad in the summers and I was always in the woods climbing trees, building stuff, catching like snakes and stuff. I was never in the house. I was always filthy dirty. I looked like
Yeah.
Isla Kreischer. Isla, that little
Mm.
girl
Is you.
was born filthy. She's like Pigpen and the Tasmanian devil together.
Love it. She'll be healthy forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
She was the last one of us to get COVID.
I was going to say, she's
forever.
like, COVID, what's that?
She
You
had
weaklings.
she practically licked somebody's mouth
Yeah.
to get it. But but I watched her and I went, oh, wow. Okay. But I had a different parent than I am to her.
Right.
Where I approached parenting like, who are you?
Yeah.
And let me grow
Don't
that.
fall into line. Like,
I wasn't given that opportunity.
Yeah.
I had to be this. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that and refused to be that. And it caused all kinds of problems that I had to unravel, which is why I'm so introspective, because I've been in therapy forever, because I had to unravel a lot of that trauma that caused the trauma response of flatlining in my brain.
yeah.
So I don't flatline anymore. I definitely have words for expressing myself. But watching Isla, I went, okay, now I know why this is hard for me. One of the reasons, and now I know why it's easy for Georgia. Bert can tell you at any minute of any day exactly what he's feeling and why and the context and what's happening and how that affects you and how that affects someone else and where we're going to do and what we're not.
I rely on her words sometimes.
Well,
Because
she'll go,
for Bert.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? I've had
pissed
14
off. It's
feelings
called
in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I've circled the wagons on feelings and you are figuring out how you feel. How can that happen?
You don't even have the feather in your brain.
Like,
what are you doing?
I'm already in the regret phase. Like, where are you?
I'm already in the regret.
And then, but
I'm going to confirm they said what they just said.
yeah, but I do think like where you guys say dead inside or like you're taking a beat, like I think that's something of a like stoic isn't the right word, but there is this whole like study on people that are seemingly stoic, that it is sort of a measure of confidence that you are capable of going, okay, I'm just going to take all this in. I'm going to measure how I feel. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to verbalize it, but it's not like rapid fire where like, because your feelings can change in a heartbeat. How you think about someone one day can 100% change the next day.
Mhm.
And so like, I think if you have emotional awareness, there's less fallout with people that are like that.
Well,
God,
it's
don't I
a
know.
different type of emotional
And I think
maturity.
that's who she is. And you're seemingly the same way.
Well, Bert and I joke, there's a Bert and a Leanne in every successful relationship. So who are you? Are you Bert or are
I'm
you
Bert.
Leanne? And guess what? Both of those personality types are amazing.
Yeah, and you've got them in
They're
your
amazing.
daughters.
I have them in my daughter, yeah.
Your personality is a little like us both, though,
Yes,
too.
we said that when we were just like
Yeah.
looking up you and
your
learning about you a
videos
little
and
bit. We
stuff.
were like, oh my gosh, she's a little bit like you. She's a little bit like me.
How did you end up in LA?
I was in college. I was not happy what I was studying. And my mom said, why don't you take an acting class? Just see if you like it. So I took an acting class in Atlanta, and my acting teacher was like, you're actually quite talented. I think you should go to New York and study. And so I was like, screw college. I moved to New York City, having never been there, which was
Oh Lord.
big brain move that. And I studied Meisner for 2 years. And then when I got out, every single person was like, you got to lose your accent. And I was like, okay. So I started taking voice lessons.
Why don't
Tell
they just
them
say like,
really,
hey, you need to lose your third finger?
Tell that
like,
to
that's
Julia
I couldn't do
Roberts.
it.
Why
I
don't
couldn't-
yeah.
I couldn't do it. So I tried. And so then I started writing when I was in New York, and I started writing like one act plays for me. And so I would do like a series of one acts, and I would bring my own one act. And then I got really, I was really sad when I lived in New York. I was very,
The weather? or
no, I couldn't find my people.
the people, they're
And I
kind of
was
assholes.
unraveling
I'm just kidding. My
all
husband.
that shit
Yeah,
from childhood. I was unraveling my
You're
childhood.
so young.
And I was
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
And,
Good Lord.
and I was like, I'm going to move to LA for 6 months and see if I like it, sublet my apartment in New York. If I hate it, I'll just go back to New York. I'm never going back to Georgia to live.
yeah.
So I'll just try LA. And immediately I started making
Found your
friends.
people.
Christine
Yeah.
Pierce is one of my longest friends.
The one
I've
from
known her-
Kansas?
Yes.
She's
I've known
lovely.
her forever. So people just started showing up effortlessly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, my acting teacher, my Meisner teacher in LA, set up an appointment for me here with an agent, first agent meeting. And he was like, you got to make a choice. You either need to stop eating lunch, start smoking cigarettes, drop about 10, 15 pounds, or you need to gain about 25 and be like the fat best friend, your choice. And I went, I choose to write.
Yes.
So I
Wow.
bounced out of acting. And because acting,
That's
I was
awful.
always the girl, the actor was like, she's probably better at this role than I am. So you should just give it to her. It made me really uncomfortable actually
Yeah.
to be in the spotlight in that way. But I liked the process of figuring
Totally.
out characters and how does this person tell that story. I loved all that. So I think I ended up being a better creative producer and writer. I wrote 8 screenplays in
No way.
2.5 years, and one of
Amazing.
them was made, and 4 were optioned, and then I started getting offers to like develop books. Almost all of them were Southern books into scripts for studios. And then I met Bert and got pregnant out of wedlock and got
I
married.
mean, we got married, didn't
Had
we? Don't it
kids.
I
count?
know.
But you know what? I made the absolute eyes wide open choice to raise my kids. I tried to continue writing while I was a mom, and I just stayed frustrated. I was just fucking
It's so
angry
hard.
all the time because Bert was on the road. I mean, Georgia was
Yeah.
3 days old,
God.
and Bert started touring when she was 3 days old. We didn't have enough money to have a nanny. I worked a job.
You don't need to be doing
support
anything
us.
else.
And so I was
Yeah.
like, push pause on all this writing. I'm going to get to that. I can write when I'm 80. I'm going to
Yeah.
raise my kids. I'm going to be here. I'm going to support Bert until we get him up and running, and then we support each other. And I ended up being able to be really creative and helping Bert with his path. And then at a certain point, 5 years ago, I was like, I am lost as a human being. All I do is like facilitate children or you, or
Yeah.
children or you. And Bert said, I think you should start a podcast. And I was like, who's going to listen to me? I don't have anything to say. Well, that is stupid.
No.
What do I even talk about? And he was like, doesn't matter. And 5 years ago, podcasting was not what it was today. There were not that many podcasts
Yeah.
that would be in my category, right?
Right,
Not
right.
really. There's some, but not a whole lot. And so I was like, you know what I want? I have the best friends ever. And I just want anybody that listens to feel like they're one of my friends.
Yeah.
And then they're
Yeah.
in the room with me and Sandy and Kathy and Kirsten and Jeannie and all these great friends that I have. And we'll just talk about whatever's on my mind. So
Yeah.
sometimes I talk about money. Sometimes we talk about kids. Sometimes we talk about sex. Sometimes I have other people on. And
If
it's
you
just
want to
been
talk
the-
about sex with me, it's going to be a short episode. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're not getting a lot of that action.
But I'm
lately.
sure it's.
Do you feel fulfilled in what you're doing?
Yes, I love this
Do you
podcast.
love it?
I love it so much. Here's what I love. I love the conversations.
Yeah.
I love what I'm learning. I learned so much, not just in the conversations, but in the pursuit of good conversations.
Sure.
Like to look in the world about what's good to talk about. I love what people email me
Oh,
and
yeah.
say. And I love that my demographic is mostly men.
Is that right?
Yes.
God bless.
It's like 67% male.
That's amazing.
And I think what's really fulfilling for me is when a man will email me and say, my wife has been saying this for years and I just didn't hear it. So thank you for saying that.
That's so nice.
And I'm like, that's
think
what
we
I'm
have, like,
talking about.
two
I
men
know.
that have listened to us and they've accidentally stumbled upon us and then they're like, we're scared.
Before you even said that, I was going to say, well, you're providing this great like soul healing purpose because so many people, especially during like COVID, were so alone and so isolated. And we would get these messages and we still get messages about videos or podcasts or whatever, like social media presence where people say, oh, I thought it was only me that felt this way, or I
Mhm.
felt really alone, or I listen to you guys on Tuesdays and that's like my me time. Because the reason that we started doing this, we love doing comedy. And, you know, we had these little babies at home and we had no outlet to do comedy. You
Yeah.
can't go to clubs late at night.
They're like, hey, do you want to do a comedy set at 12? We're like, there's a brunch comedy set? And they're like, no, midnight. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? And they're like, and you got to bring 30 of your friends and it's 2-drink minimum. I'm like, we're screwed, Jen.
But we felt like we were in these places in our lives where we were like really alone, kind of. And you're just up at night, like doom scrolling. And we're like, God, I wish there was something a little bit funnier in the motherhood space.
Yeah.
And when we started doing it 7-8 years ago, there wasn't that much.
No,
Yeah.
there wasn't.
It was all like, here's how to have Instagram perfect photos. Or
Everybody jumping at the same time wearing linen.
it was all like tutorials. And I was like, I am wearing the same shirt with like 3 days of baby barf on it.
Yeah.
Like and so it's nice to like get those messages now and hear like, oh, people hear what you're saying and it like resonates and means something to them. So I'm glad you decided to do it because
Yeah.
I am too.
it matters.
I also think those friendships you're talking about are what I think is so important to like put light on for the friendships between women, because it's not what everybody thinks it is. It's not like everybody sits around, hold hands, and sings Kumbaya. And if you want to, God bless you. But what we see is the best version of women with a strong sense of humor, a sense of groundedness when something bad happens. Like that they're like, you know, we've had women come up and go, yeah, I got a double mastectomy. I'm getting new boobs 2 weeks from today, you know, but I wanted to come to your show. They're wearing a wig. They've drawn on their eyebrows. And you're like, fuck, man, like you're a good time. Like your sickness is not the thing that defined you.
Right.
But the fact that you're out and you've got these girlfriends with you and everybody's having drinks and having a good time, like that's what women are most of the time, which I find is something that like, it's kind of like you said, like women, I think at their best are just kind of like, yeah, there's this hard thing I'm going to do real quick and I don't need everybody to pay attention to it. So therefore it's this like kind of humble audience. And it's been the great love of this whole thing is to see the women and the friendships that have been created kind of out of this ether that has been really cool.
It's amazing. Your universe is powerful and positive.
We try.
So fun. And so fun. And so how many not everybody has to be a mom to understand what you're talking about.
That's the thing. Friendship and womanhood first. Like you've had a period that's going to kill you.
Absolutely.
If you're and
everybody sucks in those damn jeans.
Yeah.
The 1% of the population looks good in the jeans you had on in those videos.
Oh God.
Nobody. Bathing
Crop
suit.
tops.
Forget it. Yes, and that's relatable to everybody. And even to men, you know, I encourage men to watch your podcast. Seriously. Because
not the bathing suits. No, I'm just kidding.
the bathing suit. Well, I mean,
I'm like, every ex-boyfriend I've seen has seen that. And I'm like, I was a little heftier, okay?
But the thing about that is that I know Bert had a kind of mythical idea of what women are or should be. It's very like mystic. It's very like unicorn-esque.
Yeah.
Where you go, I bet Giselle has some flaws.
I bet she has peed her pants from laughing.
She's beautiful. But I bet she's got some stuff that's not beautiful.
She's had a stomach flu before.
Yeah.
I mean, her belly button is questionable. Questionable.
Yeah.
You pay attention to that thing, it's almost an Audi. Come on.
Well,
that's not good.
I mean, if I can say anything, I would love Giselle's diarrhea one time because it would be beautiful diarrhea.
Probably. The worst of her is still great. Yeah.
Yeah. We like seeing everybody's like, I think everybody feels better when you know somebody's not nailing it, when there's imperfection.
Yeah.
And then we can all just have a good damn time. We can all let our stomach out. Like you can be like, is it okay if I'm buttoning my pants while I eat? Like, I mean, you know?
We used to, in our live show, we used to like talk with our stomachs. It's in our Amazon special because, and it happened very genuinely where Kristin was like, I hate my stomach. And I go, oh God, let me see it. And she pulls up her shirt. I go, oh my God, that's what mine looks like. Should I be upset about that?
Mirror.
We looked in the mirror and we're making fun of ourselves. And it's great to have a friend who sees like, you know, your flaws and loves you anyway.
Well, I was like, yours isn't bad. And she was like, well, yours isn't bad. And I was like,
wasn't bad.
Yours isn't as bad as mine. Can it do this? And she's like, mine can do that. And I was like, well, that is something. Like you're bad. That's the thing.
That Barbie standard is so unrealistic that you look like very healthy, very beautiful women.
Thank you.
And I have the same stomach right here. We can talk all day long. I can get right in the conversation with you. But guess what? I'm 53.
Yeah.
I'm not 25. I'm not supposed to. I mean, God bless the women who look like they're 25 when they're 53, but it's not the norm. It's not the norm that's presented to us by media and whatever, but it actually is not the norm. I look fantastic for 53.
Yeah.
You do.
You know? For 53. Now, if I had these wrinkles and these sunspots at 20, I might get concerned. May have some skin cancer and stuff going on. But for my age, I look amazing.
It's funny you say that because
you look 53.
Well, I went to what did we go to that had a bunch of young people and I was like, oh, and it wasn't
a nightclub.
What did I just? Maybe you weren't with me. I forget.
Where did you go without me?
I know
Kristin?
I would never go anywhere socially without you, so I can't remember where I was at. But I remember thinking. I know I wasn't having fun because I was being very introspective.
I went to a birthday party without Kristin. I was like, I
that's
can't do that again.
Dumbest move you've ever done.
That's over.
But I went and I remember thinking like, oh, there's so many young people here. I feel old.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a birthday party where everybody was like around our age. And I was like, oh, right. Because when you're around people that like you know, are within the same decade as you, you don't feel old. You feel pretty awesome for where you're at.
Yeah.
You just can't, like, I don't want to measure against somebody who's 22 because 22 is beautiful and 22, I don't ever want to go back to my 20s ever in a million years.
Yeah, because it's also kind of dumb.
But I would like
you're
the
not as
22-year-old body and my current confidence.
I think I'm lucky. I didn't have a great body at 22. I just was so hard
living
on
in
myself.
the
Midwest eating a lot of French fries.
You say that, but that's not true.
I bet you were adorable.
You were adorable then. You're adorable now.
I just read this thing that said the thing about Gen Xers, I don't know if you're Gen Xers, I'm assuming that you are.
Yeah.
Is that they were 30 when they were 8 and they're 30 when they're 50.
Yep.
And I was like, that's the truth.
Yep.
That's the truth. We were all old souls as children. We had to take care of ourselves in a different way than generations before or after.
Whereas my sister's a millennial. And when I say my sister is a millennial,
things are harder for them.
She is a real millennial. And I'm like, don't get me started. Everybody will get so mad. But I am always like, you know, Gen Xers, you were just, it was like nobody parented you.
No. We were like feral cats.
I know, we're like feral children. It was like, you would literally go in and ask your parent, you'd be like, you'd grab a knife from the drawer because you were going to go out into the woods.
And stick it in a wall socket somewhere.
And, your mom would be mad that you took her nice knife, not that you
could get injured.
You could get injured.
Exactly.
I fell out of a tree when I was living on the farm, and I fell out of the tree, and when I tell you, like my head was like this, and I was looking at an auger, which looks like a giant corkscrew, and they are the thing that every year when you're from
what
farm
farming
town,
nightmares are made of, or augers.
Somebody loses a foot or a thumb. Every time it's harvest, you're like, well, Doc Johnson lost his hand, and you're like, it's because of an auger. And I fell out of that tree, and I ran in. And I was like, Mom, I just fell out of a tree and almost died. My head went next to the auger. And she goes, why are you climbing a tree on top of an auger? And I'm like, how is this my fault?
Yeah.
How is this the mental math you're doing? Is that I almost got chopped up and somehow it would be my fault?
It's true.
How about now we just don't have an auger laying around?
Right? Because climbing trees is part of being a kid. I broke my ribs on a trampoline. Didn't tell my mother for 7 days.
God, no, you're not breathing for 7 days.
I didn't breathe. I was suffering. I was crying myself to sleep at night. And finally, my mom caught me crying. And she was like, what's going on? And I was like, took me to the hospital. And he's like, this has been broken for like a few days now. I can't do anything for her now because I was not going to get her involved in any of my business. No way.
Yeah.
So I just like bit the stick.
Oh man, getting a rib injury too. You're just like sucking wind.
It was awful.
Sucking wind.
Let's get back to the no sex part.
Oh.
Why are you not having sex? I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to.
No, I do. I'll talk about it. I think a couple of years ago we went on like one of our first like husband and wife trips when we were testing our show at
in Arizona,
in Phoenix. We were getting ready to do the new show, and we played a few dates, and I was like, you know what, we're going to be there. Let's take a few days and we'll real white people it up and go play golf and go eat and sex it up and have fun. And I remember being like my period started, and if you're married, that normally doesn't derail anything because you're freaking adults. So you're like, let's whatever. But it hurt so bad. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I went in and got my hormones checked, and I'm like in the prime of perimenopause. And it just that was my big symptom. And it was like devastating to me.
Aww.
So I felt like this thing that I knew used to be like, not for a lack of a better word, like a well-oiled machine, if you will, was like sort of changing.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt really bad, and I was kind of quiet about it, which I regret because I wish I would have just gone to the doctor right then and there and just said the thing that was happening because it was expected of my age. It wasn't out of, but I don't think I had heard about perimenopause having that symptom. And I'd heard about hot flashes and itchy skin and all the shit that goes down with that stuff, but I didn't have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the doctor, and my hormones were all over the place. And so then I just really dialed in, and I was like, I'm going to figure this out because this can't be the way that
your life.
It can't be my life.
Yeah.
It has to be pleasurable, because the second it becomes unpleasurable, you're like, well, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I went and it's taken almost like a year and a half to like get situated and figure out all the things. But now sex requires a little bit of
Prep,
which kind of takes the fun out of it because I'm a very impulsive person and I like it to be fun. I like it to be flirty. I generally like it to be when somebody might walk in. So I want like
a little danger.
Yeah. My husband's like, every time the gardener's here, you get horny. I'm like, oh,
You
I
know?
like his hairline. So, but I did think like, but I'm not, even though it does feel like kind of hard to talk about because I feel sad about it. And I don't want it to also make it feel like I'm like the crib keeper, you know, like I want to feel, I feel like that's a real quest for me. So like I'm doing all the things, I'm, you know, doing all the hormones, I'm doing all the research, I'm trying to be open about it. Like my husband is he's a dirty dog. So like
God bless
one
him.
of my favorite bits with my husband, one of my favorite, besides the fact that he always tells me that blowjobs are just as good. And I'm like, for who, buddy?
Right?
Like, you think that goes away and that's going to be that's
your entry point.
that's my entry point. I'm like, thank you. You get that on anniversaries and birthdays, maybe.
Right.
Depending on if I like you. But my husband, one of my favorite bits is I'll text him and I'll say, I'll be like, hey, you want to mess around or something? And wherever he is in the house, I can hear him slam his phone down and he'll run up the stairs and he'll be taking off his clothes. And he's big. He's like 6'3", 240, like big dude. And like, it makes me laugh so much. And that like totally gets me in the mood. Cause like laughing and feeling sexy is like, because I'm a little shy, believe it or not. Like in that stuff, I'm not like, you know, I don't have like mirrors on my ceiling. I'm like, let's go
Missionary.
under the covers
We're
and
real Midwestern.
6
Lights
minutes
off found.
Lights off. Let's feel around if we should. I don't know.
Will all that recalibrate and balance itself?
Yes, it there's been stuff that I've found like for any
and
for all you
talking
male
about
listeners that are listening, your wife might be going through this, but like
we should be talking about
I know,
it
but
too.
it's hard. I'm like external like I forget what it's called, estradiol, which is an external estrogen. Really helps, but you have to be consistent with it. And there's like, you have to talk to your doctor because there's stuff like you don't want to have sex with your husband if you put that in because like it's not good for their winter.
Okay.
You asked, Leanne.
It's a shriveling
I'm trying to be
agent.
an open damn case.
You know, even in my 20s, I remember having friends, like girlfriends that were in their 20s that like they would use tabs and stuff because they just didn't have
Which
enough.
is just crazy
like,
to me because I was like an ocean.
Well,
I'm
good
just
for
saying
you.
I was like not getting any action and like even the thought of it, I was like, whoop, you know, like but,
Here we go.
Yep, sorry.
Well,
you know?
Gotta go change the pants
Yeah,
again.
I
Oh boy.
my pants are wet.
Hurricane coming again.
Yeah, whoops.
Menopause is something that I'm in. I'm currently fully in. I haven't had my period since October.
Okay.
So almost a year.
Yep.
I have hot flashes. I have massive, ridiculous sweats at night. Like change your clothes, change your sheets. You're living in a swamp. I haven't had any sex stuff. I had a very low libido, but I'm also on hormone replacement therapy because of some long COVID stuff that I had going on that just really screwed up my hormones. That is more than what my hormones should look like if I'm in menopause. It was really kind of extreme.
Did you find out when you got your hormones balanced that your workouts were more effective? Because I did.
Yes.
I lost weight when I got balanced, and I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Like, why did nobody tell me? Like, of course I've got like, and I always felt like, whoa, this just is because I'm overeating or because
I did too. Yeah. My trainer kept saying, you just want justice. You're working out this much and you're not getting any justice.
Yes.
Yeah. You better believe that, girl.
But justice came in the form of a bunch of hormones, right?
Yeah.
Where all that stuff. I lost maybe 7 pounds. I didn't lose a lot of weight from hormones.
That's what
but it
was about me
definitely
too.
Shifted. But do you know how long they spend on menopause in medical school?
I know it's like,
Nothing.
it's less than 2 days I've heard or something like that. It's some
One
disgusting.
One day.
It's one day.
I
Some medical schools spend a week.
I read this thing how like at any given time there are 1,500 studies, like clinical studies going on about erectile dysfunction and 2 going on about endometriosis.
I know.
Which is crazy because how many friends do you have that have like suffered for a long time? We have a bunch of friends that have ended up getting like hysterectomies and like because they're done having their kids, but they've suffered for so long that now they're finally like.
I will say I do feel like we tend to like push men into the corner and think it's their fault because we say, well
they
we're
do
learning
don't
about
know
your
the
broken wiener so fast.
medical companies for a long time.
I know, but I do think that like the more we talk about it as women, then there's a need. And like women are 50% of the workforce, 60% of the college intake is girls. Yeah. Like I believe it is going to be our generation of girls and boys that bring attention to these things that we've sort of been like, I feel I'm not sure about talking about it, but I do feel like there needs to be more towards like the symptoms of menopause are insane. It's not even fair.
It's so broad too.
It's so broad. There's literally like, there's one good symptom. There's literally a biochemical change in your body, in your brain, that when you start to go through perimenopause, and it is the I don't give a fuck anymore what people think about me gene. And I believe that is because you're sort of trying to like invite like a suitor so that you can procreate, so you can make a baby. So you're sort of like this attraction thing. When you're over that, I'm going to be a fucking CEO.
Right?
See you later, motherfucker. I'm going to run a business.
Right.
You know, that's what, so women quit they're like, I'm not doing this. I don't want this job anymore. I'm going to go open my Etsy shop, or I'm going to get that promotion in my 50s because I deserve it, because now I believe I deserve it. So there is something I think really that's really cool. I've really done a lot of research about menopause because I'm like, I don't want to be told that this is something I have to be sad about when it's just something that we all go through. There is no, like, this should be something I should be able to joke about and should be able to talk about. But it's tricky because you're kind of like, oh, do I tell him my vagina's broken?
Well,
like,
no, but I think we are the first generation that feels safe openly talking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
We, in our camper group, talk about money and our marriages in a different way than our parents talked with their friends about money or marriages.
Oh, yeah.
It's maybe not a completely open book between all four of the couples, but there's one couple that Bert and I share almost everything with, and it helps us with each other. Like Sandy, because her husband travels like my husband does, I'm a very safe place for her to go, this fucking asshole just walked in my house and did ABC.
Yeah.
And I'm like, totally get it. He's in reentry. And there's a lot, our two relationships and financial situations are very similar in a lot of ways. So we've always, from early on in our friendship, said, let's just talk about all this. Like, obviously, I don't want anybody to talk about anything they're uncomfortable with, but we found two friends who are comfortable talking about anything. Like, here's my liver numbers.
Yeah.
I'm having this problem. And so that we know, each other knows that this is normal, that this is part of life.
Yeah.
That there's more ways to solve problems than our way or your way. We could figure something out, help each other share information about all kinds of things. Even when there's like investment opportunities, I'll call and go, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Because you invest your money differently than I do. Like, we decided to like buy this house as a studio instead of renting studio space. So now I own a house that I can take all this equipment out and resell it.
Yeah.
Instead of having a commercial space. They're not interested in doing anything like that. They invest their money in like the stock market. Well, when I'm going to do that too, so I'm going to ask them, hey, how do you do that? Effectively, what's your code that makes that work? But I wish more people would do that within their communities, to find somebody that they feel like they can really, truly say, hey, I'm in menopause and here's what's going on.
Yeah.
My vagina is falling out of my pants.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think
mine's just angry, but also there is my husband, which I do feel like also can be a deterrent.
Well, I think too, like,
oh my God, there's times I don't want to have sex with him.
Oh, because he
doesn't
shit?
deserve it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He
can be a real boner killer, these husbands. I know.
I mean, are there times where you like get in a big fight with Bert and then he's like, let's get it on, and you're like, is that when you turn on the like, I'm dating you? Because I'm like, I do not want to have sex with you.
Oh no,
sir.
Bert and I are perfect and never had any problems. You mean like 2 nights ago when he goes, hey babe, how about a blowjob? And I go, no.
Yeah.
How about no? It's going to be a little more work than that for you, big boy.
I also said to my husband, I go, you know that it's my idea to have sex every time we have sex. And he goes, no, it's not. And I go, when was the last time that you made a move? He goes, yesterday. I go, when? He goes, when you were working at the counter, I walked by and I squeezed your butt like 4 times. And I said you had side boob showing out of your tank top. I go,
I thought that was informative.
I thought you were telling me to go put on a shirt. And at any point that you wanted to take over loading the dishwasher, that would have been a good step in the right direction. But that was boner town.
But I think women having these conversations, honestly, and we are not, I think probably the thing we are most closed off about is sex, probably.
Just because our husband, no, we're not. Do you think?
You can't say it's because you're Midwestern, because I'm Southern Baptist.
You're Southern Baptist, but
they don't even have sex except to have babies.
We talk about it a lot in the live show.
We aren't like, neither one of us is into butt sex. And,
No.
There are times though that, because I think my relationship with her husband is more like he is an older brother to me.
She doesn't want to imagine it. She doesn't want to know what goes on.
He has talked me off of like cliffs, like when I'm about to have a full break, more than my husband has, like 100%. And then, conversely, like, I think Colin and Jen have a very good relationship because they can talk about politics or whatever. And I'm like, fast snooze. But like Britt is somebody that I look at as such a family member that when she talks about having sex with him, I'm like, oh God, please stop.
She gets upset when I say he's got a big wiener.
What she should say is, nice.
I know.
Happy
I told you
for
I'm
my
a little
friend.
shy. I get weird. I'm a big weirdo.
Happy for my friend.
Happy for my friend. She's getting...
But I like our friendship, and like the women who have like been so receptive to us being open has helped me have better conversations with like my husband.
Yeah.
Where I can't remember what tour it was that we're doing, where it was a lot of it was about married sex and like having sex when you have little kids at home and how hard it is. And it's like
you get walked in on, and that's when everything was firing on all cylinders.
And
I
said to my husband, he'd never done this math before. I go, don't you think it's weird that sex is always a good time for men? In like 20% of the time, unless you're really thinking about making sure that your wife has an orgasm, she doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, most of and I don't think they think that way because sex belongs
like,
to men
what?
for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's there like, and I wouldn't have had that conversation if we wouldn't have like been so open and been like, no, we're not crazy. This is a real thing. Like the math doesn't work out. Like it should be just as fun for me, or why am I even doing it?
Yeah.
Well, I have a different perspective. Here's my perspective, and it may not be right, but it's right for me. Okay. So sex with my husband, who is my monogamous partner. I've never been a cheater or anybody who slept around a lot. I was always monogamous. Had lots of boyfriends. I didn't meet Bert till I was 31. So I'd had years of dating. So I definitely had boyfriends and definitely slept with multiple people in monogamous relationships. But sex to me without an orgasm has a different purpose than an orgasm. Sex to me without an orgasm is about making him have one.
Yes.
And so I feel very empowered.
I actually agree with that.
And amazing, and hear me roar, because watch how fast this shit's going down.
Yeah.
Now that's what my mindset does, and I enjoy that feeling. So I'm not saying I enjoy sex every single time. Absolutely, 100%.
No, but you're saying it the right way, because I think there is a misconception that if you don't have an orgasm, the sex that you had wasn't enjoyable, and that's just not true.
Agree.
But to Jen's point, I think sometimes men, if they don't remember, like it's also our choice and our shift of our brain to enjoy this moment that's not going to have the same end as it will for you.
Right.
Like if, but I totally, that's a really fun and sexually empowered way of viewing sex. And it opens up that part of it being like, okay, this part's sexy too.
Right. It's
you
fun.
are dating him again.
I think
you're
it's so fun.
banging.
I am,
you're
getting
banging.
shit done over here.
You're so good with words. I have thought that before, where it's like, I'm like,
I like
it's
the way
not
it feels.
gonna,
I just
I'm
don't
not
have
in the
40
right
minutes.
mood, but I'm in the mood to make you happy, kind of thing. Like it's not gonna. Tonight's not my night to shine, and that is a good feeling.
It is, right? When you own the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've looked at my husband and I've said, if I have sex with you, will you promise to be in a good mood at this event the whole time?
Yeah. Fix the fence. Fix the gate. Yeah.
100%. Are you telling me 100%? Half the time I'm like, what am I getting out of this? It's going to be that the fence gets finally fixed or painted, or that you're going to get the patio furniture I want. That's what happens. And that's marriage. Sex comes in all shapes and sizes in marriage. I just think for me, when it started to change, this thing I took for granted started to change. I was like, whoa. Wait, what? But again, I'm somebody that's I'll keep trying until I love sex. I don't want to give up on it. But if it has to feel good too.
Well, yeah, if you're having physical pain, that's a different
Yeah.
thing.
It's different.
If you're sex,
A little bit of
is
pain's okay.
Like, a
Yeah.
little bit of pain's kind of a indicator.
Guys, what's
of a
happening
good
to this
time.
podcast? We were talking. Where'd we go?
How many
Take your
liquid death
temperature.
waters have you had?
I know,
yeah,
right?
14 later.
Anyway, yeah, I think a lot of people don't have that perspective. At least a lot of people where I grew up don't have
Sure.
that perspective that sex is supposed to be really fun and enjoyable. And, I love to play cards, but I don't have to win every game. I like to play. So to me, the sex, I love having orgasms, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
sex is really about play. Life is supposed to be about play. You are the closest you can be to God, I think, when you're playing.
Yeah.
So in every relationship and every project you do, if you can find play, then you are in the right lane, So I don't know. That's kind of how I look at sex. Play is probably what I have put back in the dating piece.
Man,
right?
you got to do a damn
Play.
TED Talk. Have you done one of those yet? We need to get a super church or whatever you call mega church and get Leanne on that
husband's-
stage.
He's gonna listen to this and be like, I could have done better.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, come on. That's not true. I don't know. I just think, I think play is a really important piece that we, especially as girls, are taught to stop doing.
Yeah.
Stop playing with dolls.
Yeah.
You've grown out of that. Stop playing dress up. Why are you dressing like that? Why are you wearing the, petticoat skirt? Nobody wears that anymore. Stop playing like that. Where my husband shows up in freaking, matching short set, and everybody thinks that's totally awesome. If I showed up dressed similarly, they'd be like, "What's wrong with her?"
Right.
When it's still a sense of play.
Yeah,
To me,
men
it
are
should be
allowed-
play.
There's an article that just came out about that they were talking about how girls, as young children, they were given the baby doll,
Mhm.
and then at that point, and then this was all in effort to sort of shine a light on the Barbie movie. And they were saying like little girls are given baby dolls. And then all of a sudden they discovered Barbie, who showed an adult figure of a person, of a girl, and that she had these other options. And we tell girls at a certain age, like, you need to stop playing with your dolls. But with boys, we tell them, you get to still play your video games, you get to still play your sports, you get to still play. And it's a different sense of play. So we say girls sort of need to curtail play,
Mhm.
and boys get to have all of the play.
Transform
And I don't think
their play.
Yeah, and I don't think that is happening now. I think Gen Xers are taking those things and going, no, we're going to just open it for both sides. And I think that's key, because you're
Mhm.
right. Play is imagination, play, laughter, creativity. All of those things are, I believe, the things that make you truly happy.
It's also
purpose.
play is also problem solving. Do you remember when
Totally.
you were a kid going, "Hey, let's pretend we're going to build a
Yep.
fort. And how do we build that fort?" And you look around the room and you figure out what you're building that fort with. That's what a job is.
Right.
100%.
That's what, if you're stocking shelves at Target, why can't you have that perspective? I stocked shelves in college. That was one of my jobs. And I remember going, I can love it or I can hate it.
Yeah.
The only way you can love a job that's not something that you're interested in doing. I wasn't interested in permanently stocking shelves. There are people who are super happy working at Target their whole lives. That's wonderful. It wasn't my path, but I decided to make the time I was there enjoyable.
That's smart.
Just to be
That's just
playful
positive.
about it.
Yeah, you're a good mom.
I'm realizing
girls are
that
great.
is that I am playful.
You are playful.
because I love
She has a
to
40-foot.
wear ridiculous clothes.
She has so much shit in her
And
stuff in her house.
I over decorate for the holidays. I already have
It's
Halloween
amazing.
stuff out. I have like Christmas villages. Like I love it. But I could be
You're playful. You're super
No,
playful.
but that is play. I just saw a video of you picking your kids up with some really crazy sunglasses on, and I was like, I love her.
That's her normal.
those are my regular
I
sunglasses.
love them, but they're like white with flowers on them, really
Wait,
big.
where are
I
your
love them.
readers? You should show
Oh
her those.
yeah, my
Where
But
are
that's
your
how you're
readers?
playing.
She's like,
about these.
those are her
Yes,
regular sunglasses.
I
These
love
are
them.
readers out.
my regular, but
We also are so married that we share readers.
I know.
And
Yes.
we have matching bags.
my
They're
which are
readers.
fake.
amazing.
I am lucky because I had this great role model growing up. Thank God I had one at least. Was my grandmother, and she was so playful. She was naughty, playful, and so fun. And like her house she had purple carpet in every room. Like she was so fun. And I think I liked that about her, and thought like I can dude, like she would always, everything had rhinestones on it.
Mhm.
Like,
That's
I
great.
think
Well, when
it's-
Bert and I were dating back in the day, we played a lot. We played games. We played with each other. We toyed with each other. We bullied each other. We picked on each other. And you get in this routine with kids and drop off and semantics and schedules and money and whatever. And you forget that little interactions, those little bitty moments of play throughout the day are accumulative,
Yeah.
over the course of your entire day. You've had a great day and you didn't really even do that much except approach it from this different perspective. So maybe the play was what I was missing earlier when I was saying it just shifted my perspective with like, oh, look at that cutie pie who just woke
Yeah,
up.
you're being more
Yeah.
playful.
He's so cute. I guess I just inserted play back into our relationship.
yeah,
in a
because there is
different
so
way.
much work during the day with kids. And then if you can make some of it play with your spouse.
Mhm. And we work together. I mean,
Yeah.
I work for him. So, yeah, that was a really, really great thing that we just rebooted.
I love it.
I
That's
know.
awesome.
How do we
Sexy.
wrap this podcast up? I could have you here for another 2 hours, but I've had you forever. So I need to let you go have your life.
We love
I need to
talking
go take my
you.
daughter to a doctor's appointment. That's my that's my
do?
It's real
Yeah.
deal. Real deal. Yeah.
it's all happening.
I got to pick mine up from the bus stop.
Okay.
My 17-year-old has little to no interest in driving.
Oh,
I hear that's the trend.
that's a city thing.
It's a
too,
city
right?
kid thing.
My 19-year-old was like 16 TikTok day
Yeah.
of, let me get it.
Because I have
This
heard this.
younger
This
one.
is a trend among parents. They're saying that their teenage kids do not want to get. I drove a 1972 Buick. It was huge. I was so little, and I was like, I can't get in that sucker fast enough. I mean, I think
Same.
at the fastest it went 22 miles per hour, but it was such independence.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to drive. So she has to take the bus because on days like today where I was like, I can't drive to.
Well, then she's going to figure out city transportation, which you know what
Yeah.
on that.
I don't know
And
how to
I
do
don't-
that.
I think that's pretty cool too. That makes you a very, very confident traveler.
She's
It's
an
true.
interesting bird. Well, I'm so glad I got
Thanks
to
for
meet you
having
guys.
us.
It's so nice to talk to you.
It was great to talk to both of you. I love your podcast.
Thank
I
you
think
very
you're
much.
so much fun.
Thank you.
You can tell that you're playing all the time when you're talking to each other.
We have a lot of fun. We
Isn't that
sure
the
do.
best?
Yeah.
When you have a friend that you can just have the purest fun with.
We feel like we're getting away with something. Every time
Yeah.
we're together, we're like, this shouldn't be. We gotta act like we're sad when we're on the road.
I know. And when we're like busy during the week or something like that, where we don't have things scheduled to be together, it's like 3 days have gone by and we have 9 million things to tell each other.
I forgot to tell you this. I
Yeah.
forgot it. Oh gosh, yes,
I
I meant to
needed
tell you
to
this.
tell you
Oh,
that.
did I
Yeah.
tell you about this? Like, it's the best because without her, I would feel like I didn't have like family. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like we've become. It's really awesome. Then when we get
Right.
out of here, we don't talk to each other. We're like Hall & Oates. Just kidding.
No, we're tribal as beings, aren't we? We're
Yeah.
tribal beings. And it's really hard when you haven't found your tribe.
Yeah.
Even you can be a tribe of 2. It doesn't have to be
Gotta
8
keep
or 10
trying though.
people. Gotta keep trying because there's someone out there.
There is. And it's
And-
hard. It's not easy. We talk about that. It's not easy, but you got to keep trying because
Yeah.
without your campers or without your person, it's hard to be playful. It's hard to have, you got to have something to bounce joy off of and
Yeah.
some of the shit.
As an only child, it sucks to play by yourself all the time.
God, girl.
I hated it. As soon as I hit my cousins, I was like, oh, my soul has opened up.
Oh,
Life is good
man.
again, you know?
Yes.
So,
Ain't
yeah,
that
you're
true?
right. You got to find your people and
Yeah.
keep trying. And hopefully, listening to I'm Mom So Hard is a way that people can find people and feel like they're playing
Yes.
every Tuesday.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Every Tuesday. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right. Are you touring? What's going on now?
We are touring a bit in November. We have 4 shows in November. We will start up again in April. We'll have more shows that are going to be announced. You can go to IMOMSOHARD.com if you want to keep up with us. And we do all the stuff, the Instagrams and
Yeah.
all that.
And you
The
have a book.
We have a book
I'm
that
Mom
we
So
wrote.
Hard. I'm going to
Yeah.
put it right here in front of my face so the camera sees.
Gosh, yes. We wrote a book.
I
Um,
love the pictures. They're amazing.
That is one of my favorite pictures that we've ever taken. And I think
Amazing.
I brought one outfit because I had one thing fit me. And it was a jacket she bought me and pants
Yep.
I've never spent more money
I
on.
went downtown and I
And-
bought that jacket for $5 at a sample
Yep.
sale.
This is our book. We think you'll get a kick out of this. This
The
is our,
meanest of meanies.
yes.
I
a
love it.
kids'
Look at
children's
that.
book.
Amazing.
Illustrated by Paul Briggs, who also did
I can't
Frozen.
Frozen and Raya and the
Mhm.
Lost Dragon. I say that wrong every time. So Raya or Raya,
Raya.
however you prefer. And then, yeah. And we brought you some hooch and a mug.
I love hooch.
There you go.
Let me see. And a
This-
bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
A
it.
tote.
And a wine.
There's
Looks
a couple.
pink. Oh,
Yep.
love
That's our
rosé.
wine.
Those are our
That's our
thumbprints.
wine.
Wait. You have your own wine?
We sure do.
That's amazing.
Well, I think the rosé is about as good as any rosés you're going to find out there,
I love
quite
rosé.
honestly.
Let me see this mug.
I
Oh
love
no, this isn't a mug.
And
This
you know,
is
one of
a
those
wine.
coolers, those
Yes,
cooler
it-
mugs.
I'm so hard. I love it. Thank you guys so
Thanks,
much.
Nan, so much.
Yeah,
We really had
thanks
a
for
good time. This
having
was a
us.
big deal for us, so we're real
Are
grateful.
you kidding? This is a big deal for me.
Oh,
I was
gosh.
super flattered.
I know.
I was like,
I'm so
me?
weird.
I was
Yeah.
like, they want to me? They want
Yeah.
to come on my podcast?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you very, very much. It was great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So
All
come
right,
back
let's go get our
sometime.
kids. Yes, we would love to.
I know, right?
We'd love you to
Yes.
come on ours too.
Yes.
When we figure it out.
Anytime.
We don't have a cool podcast house, but
I know.
we're figuring
we
it
need
out.
help. Anybody
Whose house are
listening
you
right
recording in then?
Hers. If you saw our setup,
It's
you will
awesome.
see our setup. You're gonna
I'll
be
come
like, wow.
anytime. Please.
Yes,
Okay.
Would love it.
Okay,
You'll
we'll
love
hold you
her,
to it.
Her back house is very similar in this style.
Cool.
I
I think
imagine
I
this is
have
you.
these curtains too.
Except in green.
yeah.
They're in the other room.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. We have
These
them.
are on my husband's side in his office.
Yeah, it's so funny. The green ones are in Bert's
And
podcast
she has
studio.
a sofa like this, but it's in the hot pink.
Nice.
Well, we don't sit in that because her dog chewed it. It's fine.
Yeah, a long story.
Oh, well. Long story.
We're all
Thank
doing our best. Thanks for
you
having
guys.
us.
Until next time.
next
Until
time.
next time.
Yeah.